good start here.
Not a good start. Round 30-something.
That's the sound.
That's the sound of life.
That is the
Honestly,
sound.
I love
Gold,
coffee.
liquid gold.
You guys make me very jealous. You can drink coffee
dude.
this
I
late in the
offered it to
day.
you, and you're like, nah. I'm
Yeah,
good.
because I don't
I'm
feel like
good.
falling asleep on Thursday this week. You know what I mean? Because
See, it doesn't affect me.
yeah,
I just
some
like it
people
for the
doesn't.
taste.
Yeah.
some people
Same.
doesn't. I always refer to my friend Jeremy. He takes
Yeah.
caffeine naps. He calls them. I'm like, well, good for you.
Yeah, man. I could drink like a monster at 12.
And then go to bed. Yeah,
Go to
I'd be
bed at
fine.
12:30,
Same way.
dude.
I don't know why.
You and my business partner Matt, he could drink coffee all day. We kind of added up a bunch of his coffees and a bang that he had throughout the day, and it was like over a gram, over 1,000 megs.
That's insane.
For the
yeah,
day.
Bang.
Bang's
That's
300.
That's a
some
lot.
shit.
Yeah, that's a lot.
300.
I
right
had
there.
it for the first time.
But hey,
Not that long ago.
really quick, just to introduce you, Joel Turcotte. Is that how you
Yeah.
say it? Boom. It's funny because right away when I first saw you, when we came across each other on Instagram, I could have swore we had gone to school together or something. I don't think we ever have. What part of the region are you from? Here
East
in Mass?
Hampton.
East Hampton. Okay, so
There's a lot of Turcottes, apparently.
yeah,
And I'm related
we know
to.
some Turcottes. I forget who.
Turcotte?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm
it's-
related to
Sounds
not
familiar.
You know.
not a single one of them.
Yeah.
My family's so
It's-
small.
Yeah, I have a
Everyone
last
asks
name
me,
like that too.
they're like, you related to that
yeah.
person? I'm like, no idea who that
No.
is.
It's funny how that works, where you'll have like people have the same last name, but no
Yeah,
relation.
I don't even have cousins.
Yeah,
That's
Where do
crazy.
we know
Really weird.
cousins?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The smallest family.
I wanted to dive in specifically
Let's do
too
it.
when I was reaching out to you because creeping on your Instagram, like I was just saying before, you're like a serial musician. Shout out to my friend Ian Simpson if he's listening. He's a similar, but I mean between the drums and the synth and what else? What did I see you playing?
I've like recently started messing with bass. a
Okay,
little
yeah,
bit.
stuff like
but-
that. So talk about that. Like, so how did you become a teacher? Where do you teach?
I teach at Berkshire Hills Music Academy,
Okay,
but I started at Springfield Conservatory Music. I'm gonna take this off because this is so
Absolutely,
loud.
Go
man.
for it. Go for
absolutely, dude.
But I started there 6 years ago.
Mikasa Sukasa.
Yeah, hell yeah,
Take it all off, bruh.
yeah.
it.
This is the first OnlyFans
Yeah.
Yeah.
collab.
Welcome. This version's gonna
Hell
cost you extra.
Yeah. Cut it off right here. I always told Mike we should do
Spotify
it.
Premium.
I always
bro.
told Mike we should do a strip
Love
poker
a,
version of the
yeah, a
podcast.
strips
Hell yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Every time a keyword is said, one article of clothing.
Yeah, every time fuck is said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to my girlfriend for that idea.
No, but I started teaching like 6 years ago. It's in Springfield, which is just like mostly kids, which is funny because I'd like never worked with kids,
Yeah.
never babysat a small family.
How,
I'm the
how old
youngest
are these
one.
kids?
5 to like 15.
And you teach them music?
Yeah, drums.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then at Berkshire Hills Music Academy, it's all intellectually disabled young adults. So
Okay.
18 through like,
Oh, so you teach at two different places then?
yeah.
I
well,
thought
I'm
so.
not
I saw that
really
on your Facebook.
post-COVID, not really
Not really,
teaching
yeah.
at Springfield, which I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
rough.
That's
so
my
rough.
full-time job as BHMA, which is cool because I've never worked with that population either until I got hired, and I was like kind of
Yeah.
just thrown in, didn't really get like a precursor, and I was like, I guess I'll just figure it out.
Right, right.
It's been mad fun, man.
Absolutely. Dude, honestly, I feel so bad for anybody who's in college right now or in any type of school
Oh,
and
horrible.
has to be at home
Yeah,
and still pay full price.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That's
dude,
bullshit.
you would think people would be out on the streets because of shit like that.
Yeah, fuck that. I didn't even
choice
like
at
it
the same
being
time.
there. Never
How does
mind
that work for you as a musical teacher, though?
it. Well, I mean, it's pretty restricted right now.
Yeah.
So when COVID hit, I think we went back to like the end of August.
Mm-hmm.
Been back a couple months now. But it's mad restricted. Like half the students are there, and like half the students normally are residential. So we have two
Right.
buildings, and one of them they live on campus. But
Now,
Yeah.
does it often occur that the student has the equipment that's needed, or is it the facility that pretty much is?
yeah, for
Because
sure.
I was gonna say, like, I remember I went to HCC for a bit, and not
Oh,
that
what
I
time?
2013, 14.
Yeah, we were there at the same time.
Yeah, I might have honestly seen you. If
Probably.
you went, because I mean, do you know Tom Roche and?
That sounds mad familiar. I was in the music department.
Yeah,
the whole
and
time.
I was in electronic media, so we were doing like movies and stuff. And Elijah Bovin, do you know him? I
Yeah,
think he's from
yeah,
East
yeah.
Hampton. So yeah, maybe we've crossed paths.
I'm sure we have.
But I remember always going into the musical section because I like playing piano, and it's like that environment is crucial to
Yeah,
the learning experience
of course.
because how many people have an upright at home?
yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I mean? How many people have a drum set or
Well, that was the thing when we were like remote before we went back. I only worked like 6 hours because no one had drum sets at home.
right? Like,
which was
Yeah, it can
kind of
kinda, like-
nice to have the time off
Yeah.
because I was getting paid full time to work 6 hours
That's
a week.
nice. But
Yeah.
it sucks if they don't have drums. You can only
Yeah.
teach them so much.
I know the progress is like severely stifled.
Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely shitty.
Tell them to
Especially,
play Rock Band.
Yeah, that's when you break out the rock. All right, everybody has an Xbox or PlayStation, I assume. So
yeah.
our next
But-
course is going to be Guitar Hero.
Oh, fuck, dude. I put so much time in Guitar Hero.
Oh,
Same. I
everybody,
love.
And I can't play guitar at all.
wanna know
and I'm
something?
so pissed at
Neither can
myself.
I. Yeah,
Want to
so-
know something really funny? I played Guitar Hero with the controller.
You did. You were a master at it.
I don't know
With the old
why
school.
I couldn't do it with the guitar.
Oh, like an
I just did the
actual-
controller.
that's
Like I just
gnarly.
pressed the buttons because the trigger. This was green, and then
That's insane.
and then you had the
Now
5.
Mike can't move
A
his
was
hand past this. He's
Yeah.
just stuck. 'cause
Fucking
he just-
crazy, dude.
when I sleep at night. I'm still fidgeting
Dude, if I had put the amount of time put into Guitar Hero 2 into guitar,
Yeah.
I could play guitar.
Yeah,
easily.
Same.
I'm
easily.
so pissed.
Yeah.
It's a
Beatles Rock
different.
Band
It's a
too,
different
yeah.
skill. Actually, it's funny because I remember watching a freaking bit that Tom Morello was talking about
Yeah.
Guitar Hero, and he was saying like how
Oh, it's so-
it's a skill in and of itself of how you can press those buttons, but it doesn't actually give you any musical
No,
ability.
not at all. That's why real guitar players suck at it.
I know.
I was better at Guitar Hero than like my guitar friends.
Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah. Just
It's like cool, dude.
That's
good,
not- yeah,
good
it's like, this isn't
skill
real
I've
life.
established.
it's cool that you can flick the little thing on the guitar.
You
and
can
hit
press.
The buttons.
You can press the buttons when they come really
can't.
fast.
Wow.
I can't play guitar to save my fucking life.
I have no musical ability in me, so like whatever you have, I'm sure is better than whatever I'm rocking. So
Yeah. So how did you come to become? How did you become a teacher? I mean, how long have you been doing music?
Since I was 2.
No kidding.
Yeah, my dad's a drummer, so I've just been hitting shit forever.
No kidding. Is he in any known bands or anything
I mean,
like
he
that?
plays in the area a lot. I play in a band with him in Allman Brothers.
Okay, I was
Pretty
gonna
big
ask
band.
you
that's
if, you
cool.
if you've ever been in
Yeah.
a band because
Yeah.
it seems like you're all at least the posts you have on your Instagram page referring back, and check that out, guys, if you haven't already. It's gonna be in the link below. All the different things you're doing down there. You know what I mean with the drums. I like that one you just posted when you made something on the computer.
Oh yeah.
I mean
yeah.
that stuff's awesome.
Thank you.
I've
Yeah.
always loved doing stuff like that myself, and it's just blows my mind when because I've never gone past the loops, if you know what I'm talking about. So it's cool when I see
Yeah.
people doing it with like
Yeah,
the
it's fun.
actual instruments or the actual chords or keys you can use.
Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, I'm in a few bands right now.
No kidding.
Yeah. I've been in one of my bands, Writing in the Skies, like 9 years old almost at this point. It's just like
Really?
instrumental, nerdy prog metal.
Yeah.
cool.
Another band called Peak Fiction, which I'm technically not in anymore, but still like recording with them.
hmm
Another band, Cat Bamboo, that we were supposed to be touring, but
Yeah.
COVID fucked that all up.
Dude, I know. It's just
So now we got
devastating
plans.
things for everybody.
We got a Europe tour. We're just finishing up booking for next
No way.
August. Yeah.
So you guys
cool.
go all the what parts of Europe do you go?
Well,
Where can people find this, by the way? Do you guys have a website or anything?
yeah,
like
Cat Bamboo on Instagram. We got a website. If you go to my
that? I'll make sure they're all below.
Instagram page, it
Yeah.
should be on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I met them in person in England. We were
Okay.
I was in England when COVID literally went down. It
No
was
shit. What were you
super-
doing out there?
We had a tour booked.
Okay, gotcha.
And we left March 9th, and all this shit hit like what, March 12th? or
Yeah.
Yeah,
something?
something like that.
It
Yeah.
was literally
No, I remember.
we were abroad. I was
supposed
getting
to go
like
to
texts
Japan
from my
the first week.
mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yo, everything's closing." And I was like, "Fuck."
Really? I know.
Yeah.
That's what I was like. I was like, what? You know what I mean? When I first heard about it, I was like, and everybody was like, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, and
Yeah, no,
then
it's real.
everything was closed. And
Yeah.
I work at like a small gym in East Long Meadow. We had 3-4 months off. I don't even know
Yeah.
when we got back to work. July.
hmm So I was just finding that all out through my mom texting me
Right.
while I was in England. Because England was kind of behind us. Like they were open. Like I was in a club
Yeah.
with like 200 people.
Right. Right.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was funny because of the situation, me and my homies were like, we're one of the few people that like gets to understand that this is the last moment we have out. You know
Might
what I
as well
mean?
Enjoy it.
Dude,
Because everyone
seriously.
else was like, one weekend they're at the bar and then everything happens and they didn't know that was the last weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you
Until
had
after.
insight of that?
Yeah, because we were like, we're in England right now. They're still kind of open.
Right.
Like, this is the last time we're going to fucking go out for like who knows how long. So we were just like,
Seriously.
dude, whatever.
Make
And then it wasn't
happen.
until the last few days where like London was like on lockdown and shit. And it was mad eerie.
Dude, I
But dude,
couldn't
it
imagine.
was super
Being
weird.
in a big city, that would be by far the worst experience if you were in a big city. Like I remember just
Mhm.
watching Dave Portnoy's One Bite reviews with frozen pizzas.
Yeah, because he's stuck inside.
His freaking house was getting filled with boxes, and he couldn't leave the house.
Yeah, because he's using Goldbelly.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It was weird. It was really surreal. But
It really
I'm
was.
super thankful for it because it was honestly super fun. And like just a funny
agree.
story.
Dude,
And it was
I
just fun.
agree. So many good things have come from it. I keep saying that so to not be so much of a negative Nelly, but the fact is that a lot of great things came out of it, and I had fun because I ended up similar. I mean, maybe not similar because you were there when it happened. I ended up going out to Arizona, and in the same way, though, it was super eerie that everything was closed. You know, out in the streets, we're walking the streets. There's nobody on them.
Yeah.
Usually, there's a lot of people there. I heard from one of the locals, and it was just nice to have time off from work.
Yeah.
It kind of was a really great, like, probably one of the most mentally healthy things that has ever happened to me.
Yeah.
To be completely honest.
And it, like being abroad when it all happened too is just like I said, it's surreal because we got the rare opportunity to like actually take in that like, okay, we're in a country that hasn't totally shut down yet.
Right.
So we can just enjoy this shit and kind of just like be like, fuck it until we're back. Like I didn't want to go back.
Yeah, because
I was like,
most people had no idea like what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Or, like it was gonna be like.
and I
this,
knew
you know?
everything was shut down. I'm like, I'm just gonna go back and just be miserable. So like, I just want to stay out here.
Yeah,
Dude,
enjoy
right.
it
I mean, we had 3 weeks. We were supposed to be out there 3 weeks, like the 9th to the 30th or something. And I mean, COVID, although they weren't shut down, it fucked the whole tour up. Like we had 12
Yeah.
shows, 3
How many-
radio shows booked, and we ended up playing 3 shows.
Dude, where can we access? Are you on Spotify or anything?
Mhm.
So what's the name of your the band?
Writing in Skies, all that.
Okay, that
shit's
one's
a little old, but
Okay.
Cat Bamboo. I'm not on any of the recordings yet. I had a couple months ago recorded my parts for the new album, but they had an old drummer
Yeah.
before me. And then Joel Turcotte, I have my first single out. I'm going to be dropping my own solo record.
No way, when?
soon.
Nice.
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet. Well,
I
that's
gotta
still big news.
finish up
Keep
a
an eye
couple
out for that,
things.
guys.
Yeah, I'm pumped. That'll be my first.
Do you have it, by the way, I
release.
forgot to ask you before you came in, but it's fine if you don't. Do you have anything I could put in the end of this podcast, like a sample to lead people to wherever you want them?
Yeah, I mean,
like,
you could
just
play the song I
Okay.
released or something.
Do you have just an MP3 format you could send to me?
Yeah,
Perfect.
I could. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just
or
at the end of this.
Spotify, whatever.
Yeah.
It's on there.
Send it to me, and I can like kind of clip in just a short, like 10,
Yeah.
30 seconds of it or something, and
Dope. Yeah.
just to so if people want
Yeah.
to hear it or
But I'm
end up.
stoked on that. That's like the first solo release. So
Yeah.
when I got back from England, I was staying with my parents for a bit just because I don't know, it was just easier than being with my roommates and shit.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing to do. So I started to write a song that I was going to use for my other band.
Mhm.
And then I was just in that zone where I was like super creative, and then I busted another song out and I was like, hold up, like I actually want to keep this for myself because I've always wanted to write my own record.
Uh-huh.
And I just never did. And then I was like, let me make headway on this with these 2 songs. And then I wrote, there'll be 7 songs on it. Yeah.
So when you're making music, what's the musical process like for you? Do you first write something, or do you first have a melody and a beat in mind? Like, where do you where's your inspiration come from usually? Is it like, because I like, for instance, when I'm make something, and I'm obviously not very musically inclined, but I feel really good when I make like a beat or something. And sometimes people will make a song to the beat, or make, in other words, a beat to the lyrics.
Yeah.
Is there a specific way you do that?
Well, all my solo stuff's instrumental, so I guess
Oh, okay.
luckily I don't have to think about.
The lyrics.
All my
So when you
bands
say you're
are
writing it,
basically
what do you
there.
mean?
So actually too, after I have my laptop, I could show you like the sessions in
okay.
Logic, like how I go about it.
Nice.
But so basically how I did this record was I have my keyboard
Right.
that just MIDI into Logic. That's my DAW. And I would just pick settings. So I have like MIDI guitar, like fake guitar sounds,
Mhm.
bass, drums, synth, piano. And then I just write everything on my keyboard. So even the guitar parts I wrote on my keyboard. So I might just like sit at the keyboard and then just like kind of come up with the riff and be like, all right, here's like a cool guitar riff. Now let me add bass under it. Let me do fake drums for now.
Nice. So you
Piano.
kind of stack things
Layer,
together.
go riff
layer.
at a time. So I don't like have a vision for the song yet. I'll just start with one riff.
You kind of let it feel
Yeah.
itself out. I like that.
And then so the process, which is kind of crazy. So it's like I wrote all that out, wrote everything, all the guitar parts, bass parts, synth, piano, drums. And then I have a homie, Josh Della, shout out. He did all the guitars because I can't play guitar to save my life. So I sent him the MIDI tracks of like just the MIDI guitar, and then he sent it to him, and then he learned it and recorded it on real guitar.
No kidding. That's
And then
awesome.
the bass was
That's smart.
all the bass was all MIDI, so the
Mhm.
bass isn't real, but I played it on keyboard. All the keyboard parts and synth parts are on piano, and then I recorded real drums to it in the studio.
That's cool.
And then I'm sending it to a guy in New York who's mixing it all. So he's like making the bass sound legit because he has all these plugins and you can like alter the velocity and shit.
right.
Everything but the guitars I played. So everything other than I played the drums and then all the bass, synth, keyboards all on the piano, and then Josh.
So what's a live show like with your band? Now, did you have vocals with your bands, or was it sort of like an emancipator experience where you're kind of working the instruments from a technical standpoint, like you're kind of merging?
Well, some of the bands I've been in had vocals, but like
Okay.
Writing in the Skies is always instrumental.
Nice.
But yeah, it's mad fun. Like the local metal scene in Western Mass
Yeah.
is great. Like everyone's so friendly. The shows are popping. But yeah, I mean,
are you familiar with the band Dope Ghost? That guy. They were on. They're from Springfield. Really awesome band too.
I mean, maybe I forget
They're
the names
they're
of every
rock.
band I play with.
They're more rock, maybe less metal. I'm not sure though. I'm terrible with naming genres, but they're kind of
Just
right up
sounds
that
good.
alley. Sounds
Oh,
good. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's cool. Like every show, every genre is kind of different. So like with Cat Bamboo,
I like the name too. That's a cool
yeah, I
name,
wish I could
Cat
take credit
Bamboo.
for it, but 2 guitars and me on drums. We don't have a live bassist, so we play with backing tracks. So like we have a bassist on the record, so we'll have like just the backing track of the record, so just bass and like whatever synth layers, and then we're actually playing in real time. So then I have a click track in my ear, like a metronome going, just hook that up, which is fun. It makes us way tighter, but it's also way more nerve-wracking because you can't fuck up. Because if you get off, you're off from the backing track.
And that's a long fucking time to be off, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
you
and then
have
it's
to
just
go
gonna sound
through-
like shit.
You have to go through the whole loop before you can fix it.
Yeah, and if you don't get back on, you're just off.
Yeah.
The bass, nothing's aligned. So
Oh,
it is a bit more
fuck.
pressure.
Oof.
But
That sounds like a fun time.
I totally know what you're saying.
it's
too.
also fine. Like I'm competent
Well,
enough to play with the
that's-
metronome at this point.
right, and that's a level of pressure that you obviously been conditioned to get used to because through exposure. I mean, how many
Mhm.
shows have you put on in your life?
Uh,
You don't even know.
hundreds. probably
100.
played
Yeah,
hundreds
dude, that's
at this point.
awesome. I really wish honestly I would not be surprised if I've seen you guys play because I've been
Probably.
to so many concerts in Northampton, East Hampton.
Mike is a connoisseur of sorts.
No,
Yeah.
not entirely. No, not
We played a
entirely.
lot at 13th floor in Florence. I don't know.
Oh no, Florence.
That's like the metal
Yeah.
headquarters of Western Mass. It's great.
Yeah, between like I don't know, the House of Blues and Boston and the Bishop's Lounge, Pearl Street,
Yeah, I played Bishop's
Iron
a few
Horse. Yeah, I've probably seen you at Bishop's. 'Cause I've been there quite a few times.
times. Yeah.
Dude, that's pretty cool. So where do you guys go from here now that things are kind of on the low? How are you plotting your course? I mean,
The Cat Bamboo, like I said, we had a ton of tours. We had the initial England one. We had 3 weeks.
'cause I know there's still some music going on, right?
touring is just not
It's
doable
not good
unless
right
you're
now.
so big that you can do like the
Yeah.
drive-in shit. But you
Yeah,
have to
like
be
I know
huge for
comedians
that.
are doing that.
Yeah.
Like Bert Kreischer's
I
been
saw
doing that.
Bill Burr.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bill Burr
yeah.
too.
It's
Yeah.
fucking hilarious. But yeah, I mean,
It's gonna be expensive to do though, I imagine. Put it all
yeah, for
together.
sure. But we had that tour. We were supposed to be touring in England, in Europe. Like the tour we have booked for next year was supposed to have already happened.
Yeah.
We had like a tour in Mexico. Japan was supposed to happen this month.
No way.
Maybe. Yeah. So we have a lot of shit in the works. It's just
How do you get gigs
COVID.
like that? How does that come about? Like,
that is all my guitarist.
no kidding.
He's the kind of the networker. And
Hardcore networker.
Now, do you
Yeah.
guys headline or you guys?
if it's more like a low tier tour, like we're not huge,
Yeah,
you know,
no.
we're not so like,
Right.
but
Well,
You
you're
start
probably
somewhere at the same
opening.
time.
Once we
Yeah.
do, like we're gonna tour. I don't know if I should say it actually.
No, that's fine. No,
but we
yeah,
do
yeah,
have
that's
a
fine.
band
That's
we're
fine.
gonna tour with
Oh,
in
gotcha.
Europe and shit, and we'll open
Yeah.
for them.
Okay.
But
It just depends on probably like the venue
Yeah.
and stuff. Cool.
Are they a big band?
in the scene, yeah, they're pretty
Yeah,
big.
that's
so it'll be a
awesome.
dope tour. I mean, they're not huge, but like it'll be sick.
Well, it's a smart way to go about it because
yeah,
if you-
openings
if-
where it's at.
right, exactly. Because if you honestly, some of the best shows I've ever seen, I've gone to shows just for the opener.
Of course.
Like I don't. Are you familiar with like Nako or Medicine for the People? There's like it's kind of like a hippie, but they're like rock.
Mhm.
and I saw them in Wonderlust, Vermont, and they opened for Emancipator. I went there. Are you familiar with the band Emancipator?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, they're like an instrumental band. Are you familiar with them?
I know, man.
I figured you would really like them. You should probably check them out. Check them out sometime. I totally recommend them. You'd probably get some inspiration from those guys too. And they weren't a band that I was really into then, but man, I was like, dude, I can't believe I've always been a big fan. I mean, now been a big fan of them, and I couldn't believe it. But I've gone to a lot of concerts just to see the openers.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they are better than the main event. But the fact of the matter is that it's probably much easier to get an opening act than a main event act, and it's like, why not? If there's going to be a show, get in on it. That's the best way.
And that's good exposure because again, like if you're touring with a bigger act,
right?
Then that's just everyone's gonna see you.
Like,
if it's a good mesh of genres, if it's not like a shitty pairing of bands.
Yeah.
Like
which this wouldn't be.
One of the best I think I've seen was, I went to go see Korn 2 years ago, and they had Stone Sour, and then I didn't realize it, but Yellow Wolf was there, and I did not expect it at all. And me and my girlfriend walked in, and I'm like, wow, it's weird they're playing Yellow Wolf at a Korn concert, and I thought it was just playing like before, like I didn't think he was opening.
Yeah.
And then I went to the stage, and I'm like, oh shit, Yellow Wolf is actually playing. Like,
damn.
so like to the opposite of what you were saying, like it's cool sometimes to be surprised by the opener.
Yeah.
Just like, wow,
it's
like,
sick.
No.
But I'm excited because I haven't really toured. So this is going to be my first.
Have you ever heard of Humble
actually doing
Patience? You go? They're another local
No.
band from your area.
So bad
Oh
with
man,
names.
yeah, I know. I've seen so many. I'm trying to think if I can relate any, but that's all right. Yeah, so you guys, freaking Japan though. Have you ever been yet?
No, I've been all over Europe.
What was it like? What's it like out there? A lot of lights, a lot of.
In Japan?
No. Out in Europe, like
it's
performing.
I haven't performed out there, so I solo traveled there in 2018 for 2 months. Just booked a trip and just went, kind of wung it, and then did it again in 2019 for 7.5 weeks. So and then I was in England for a few weeks, so I spent almost 5 months there at this point.
Dude, that's smart.
And I think I've hit 18 countries over there at this point.
Jeez.
What's your favorite?
Oh, fuck.
That's a good question, yeah.
I know, that's a...
I can never top. I
Yeah,
guess I
maybe
have to
what's one of your
say
favorites?
I
Top
have to
three.
say favorite country is Iceland because anyone that knows me is probably already rolling their eyes if they're watching this because I never shut up about it.
Yeah.
'Cause
Probably
it's
the same
just-
about, dude, I've been there. I went there for like a week
You
for
went there?
vacation. I
Then
loved
you know
it.
it. You know.
It's, so.
Anyone that
thank
hasn't
you, by
been
the way,
there-
because now you know why I bring it up so often.
Go to fucking Iceland.
Yeah, it's
Man,
very
I feel
cheap.
left out now.
It's very cheap and is the most magical place you'll ever fucking go in your life, hands down. I mean, there's probably some places that are on par, but
Disneyland.
No, it's the most.
it's nuts. It's
Disneyland.
absolutely
Yeah.
insane. Disneyland.
Everyone that hasn't been
Toys R
there
Us.
wants to go there,
All right.
Yeah.
but they don't get it. And everyone that has been there is just like, yeah, that place is fucking.
Yeah.
What
No,
did you do?
it's-
Did you do the whole thing?
So no, we landed in
Reykjavik.
I think I told this story. Well, Keflavik, because that's the international airport. We then waited for a friend. It was a wild trip. We then drove cross country. That sounds like a big deal, but it's not in Iceland. But it still took us 8 hours to get all the way to the glacier.
Viking.
The glacier,
Yeah.
the large one that's on the island.
I
And
think I went there.
yeah, it's just like we were just south of it. And I'm telling you, these roads, they just keep going and going, and they're accompanied by just continuous mountain ranges.
Yeah, the most beautiful landscape
And
of all
there's
time.
certain points where you can't tell if it's mountains or just sheer glacier pouring over the mountains. Like the largest glacier in Europe is in Iceland, and it's on land.
Yeah.
And it's just gushing out water. The waterfalls out there are insane.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah, I did the whole ring road.
That's what the
whole
immigrant
thing.
song is about.
Yeah.
That's my argument. I was like, that's what that song's about
Dude.
by Led Zeppelin, right?
Hell yeah.
Come from the land of the ice and snow where the midnight sun and the hot springs blow.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Dude, that's literally what Iceland is. They have
What time did you go? What time of the year?
November.
Ah.
So I had
See, I was there in
long
June
mornings.
when it was 24/7 sunlight.
Yeah, so they got white nights is what they call them, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
What was that like?
It was weird.
Was it really weird? Like
Well, that was my first place. So I'd never been anywhere international other than like Niagara Falls.
Mhm.
And I hadn't even been on a plane since like junior year of high school. And then I just booked this 2-month trip by myself. Never
Yeah.
been to Europe, never went anywhere.
I always made a joke. I was like, imagine partying during the white nights. How confusing that would be if you're just, having a banger of a night and, you
Yeah,
usually
it's
wrap
still
things
light
up
out.
around midnight and you have no idea.
Yeah. So the first night I was there, I was like just chilling outside my house. It was like 1 a.m. and it was just light
So
out.
what, does the sun just get close to the horizon? What was that like?
I thought it would be like you'd have a couple hours of like
Dark?
And it never did. It was
Yeah,
just light the whole time.
it's because you're so high up, and when the planet tilts, we see the sun go under.
Down.
Yeah, it probably touches the horizon and bounces back up.
Yeah, but it's light the whole time. It was super trippy.
It's like a bender that never ends.
Dude,
sick.
You have to have like dark, really thick blinds in your house.
It's beautiful, man. Just
I
drove
don't know
that.
how people do it the opposite way, like Alaska and shit, when it's dark. Like,
yeah, well, that's how Iceland and like Norway.
Yeah, they
Sweden,
do it both.
Finland.
Yeah. I don't know how they do
I don't
it.
think Iceland gets round the clock darkness.
No, but it's a lot.
It gets close.
It's like 18 hours or something.
I will say, yeah, but in November, because I got there in November and left in November because I wasn't there for more than 10, 11 days, and it would get dark. Sun sets at 3 when we were there at that time. But the beautiful part about it is you get up at like 8. It's still dark out in the morning, right? And that's not even that early in the morning. We could all agree on that. Having breakfast, showering, getting ready, getting on the road, be on the road by 9:30, 10, and the sun would just be beginning to rise.
Yeah.
You'd have these drawn out sunrises. You'd never seen orange in this light.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely incredible. You're on a different planet. It was one of the few places that I've been where I felt like I wasn't on the same planet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something, I mean, I always have high expectations when I go to very different places. And it's not, you don't really get that experience all the time when you go to other places. But in Iceland, you definitely did.
It's amazing. It's a great place to go to alone because that was the first country I hit on my trip. And just like there's some places there where it's just the solitude is just
nuts.
Silence.
It was nuts. We went to the edge and watched, the waves come in. Where the rock, where land ends and the sea begins. And
so many dope places like that.
I've done that, different spot, but at the Cape, like right on the handle of the Cape, like when you're looking out towards the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Same kind of feeling. You just look out and you're just like, it's endless.
Yeah, I found this like glacier lagoon that like 2 people were at.
Nice.
You couldn't see it from the side of the road. I just pulled over and then hiked down, and then they left, and I was just sitting by this fucking glacier lagoon, like writing poetry. And then there was like a hill.
That's awesome.
And then I was like, let me just go up here, and then just the fucking view, dude. I was just like, this is just insane. And that was the first like week of my trip. First time I'd done that. 9 days.
9 days, yeah.
And then that trip, then I went from there to Ireland.
Dude, that's all it takes.
I drove it in 8 days. And then I went to Ireland for a week, Scotland for a week, England.
Did you get a chance to see the Northern Lights?
No.
We got real lucky.
Can't in the summer just because.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. But it was still.
We got so lucky because we saw them, and then we were like, okay, they're out. You know what I mean? You can check. There's like a rating. They'll tell you the odds of them coming out are good. Mm-hmm. So we're like, okay, we all got in our car. And we drove like an hour out of our way because what was really difficult to get away from in Iceland is the light from those greenhouses. Mm-hmm. Where we were, at least, they're everywhere it seemed, and they were just so bright. I called them the second sun because they were just that bright. Because they can't grow anything without light greenhouses. Mm-hmm. There's no way they can grow anything. So they can grow bananas, but I heard they grow bananas in Reykjavik. Fun fact.
Really?
Yeah, because
they have place I'd expect.
I wouldn't.
Well, they just have those things on at all times. They have bees. They have their own specific breed of bumblebees with white butts. We went into this restaurant and had food there, which was great. And that's a whole nother story in and of itself. But the bees flew around while we were eating. Bees.
Beads? Arrested Development, sorry.
Yeah, no.
Thinking about bees again.
Yeah.
I miss it there, dude.
Yeah.
No, so we drove, and it was like, have you ever read The Alchemist?
No.
It's a good book by Paulo Coelho. And in other words, it's a story about somebody going out of their way to find what they've always wanted, but realized it was always back at home. By the time we got back to our place, we're like, stop. Somebody said, stop the car. Right when we were at our driveway, we didn't even notice, but where our lodge was, we had this like whole little IKEA cabin to ourselves out there. Airbnb is the way to go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're traveling, Airbnb, don't fuck around. And it blocked out the light from that greenhouse. And sure as shit, just cutting through the sky like somebody just ran through it with a butter knife, and it's just bleeding like neon green silk. It was just wild.
Yeah, dude, that place is otherworldly.
Yeah,
truly.
Otherworldly, and talk about probably the most efficient country in the world energetically.
Yeah.
Because of how much, what's it called? geothermal energy they can harvest because they're right on the North American and European fault line. And I stood. Did you go there in Reykjavik where you could stand on the bridge? Because part of Iceland is actually in the North American tectonic plate. So it's just a sliver of the top half, just north of Reykjavik. Did you get a chance to do any of the hot springs?
No, but I did when I was in Mývatn, which is like super up north. Yeah. Which up north is crazy because it gets like desert up there. Like the total environment, no green. It's fucking crazy. That's what I'm saying. Dude, I drove the ring roads 20 hours of driving, and it's just literally beautiful the whole time.
Yeah,
it
that's
just
the
keeps
thing.
Changing.
People take campers and go the ring road route.
But I did. There's like it's like the Blue Lagoon of that place. Yeah. I didn't do the Blue Lagoon, but
we tried. It's like we needed an invitation from the Queen to get in that place. You know what I mean?
If you ever go back,
Viking themselves.
go to Mývatn.
Yeah, we did one, but not Blue Lagoon.
But that one was sick. And then I met some cool people there. Stayed up till like 5 a.m. So slept in my car that night.
Did you guys perform there at all or no?
No. No, that was all alone on that
How did you
trip.
travel? Were you using like Ryanair or whatever? What's it called? Or you can get like last minute seats. Did you ever hear about that? If you fly to Iceland, which is probably the cheapest place to fly to.
I'm pretty sure that's the airline you don't ever want to.
Ryanair, yeah, I know. We used
it's like the Spirit airline.
We used WoW. We used WoW.
No, WoW is the one that sucks, right?
Yeah,
that's like the one that
it's
you
like a
don't.
Bus with wings.
Yeah,
nice.
And it's actually non-existent. They
tin can with wings. Tin can with wings.
I've read when I was researching. Everyone's like, dude, fuck WoW.
Yeah,
I was like, all right.
Dude, this is what they did. Okay, not only was it shitty enough that there wasn't bathrooms on the airplane.
Mike's glowing endorsement.
They decided to leave the lights on the whole time. Our flight was from like 9 p.m.
Wanted to make sure you could see.
It's a 5-hour
fly
flight.
Out of Logan.
Yeah. Turn the lights off.
Use Iceland Air next time, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
they're so proud. Like they are so pumped to be Icelandic. They're like, "Do you want our water?" I was like, "Fuck yeah."
Icelandic people in general are pretty.
Yeah, because there's like 300,000 of them. I'd be pumped too.
I'm pretty sure is it their soccer team, or am I thinking of someone else?
Well, they got Thor, half Thor rather, the power lifter.
Yeah,
are more commonly
killing. Their music scene too is strong.
Mountain from Game of Thrones.
The Viking.
Yeah, I know. Bjork,
crazy.
You know who Bjork is?
Yeah, Sigur Rós too. This band Agent Fresco, like because it's so tiny, just like everyone in Reykjavik, that's the heart of the music center. It's just like everyone knows everyone, even if they're huge.
No,
I think it's such an inspirational place too that like when I listen to Icelandic bands, I'm like, there's like a certain quality of it that I'm like, this makes sense. Having been there, like growing up with that landscape. Yeah. It's just like such beautiful shit.
I can imagine too, like the Vikings were there. You know what I mean? Like that's got to be part of it. Is the music? Is just like the hardiness and like that.
It's
like,
gorgeous,
I know what you mean. There's sort of a signature to what everything they do, and they have a huge influence.
Yeah.
Have you heard Sigur Rós?
No, well, probably honestly.
But that's one of the biggest Iceland. If not
Haggard.
the biggest.
Do you think Haggard? Do you know who Haggard is? That's another hardcore Viking-esque band. They're very Scandinavian.
This band is very not hardcore.
Okay, yeah.
They're just the most ethereal, ambient, just beautiful music. I'll send you some shit.
Stuff. Yeah,
but just like
cool.
you listen to it and you're like, this is, if Iceland had a sound, this is what it would sound like.
Yeah, this would be their anthem.
But I guess, initially to answer your question, Iceland. But also Scotland's great.
Yeah, Scotland.
And you know
what was the question?
Finally going
What's my favorite country?
Oh,
10 minutes ago.
Damn, yeah. Here we go, full circle,
I can get sidetracked, but I'm like, I know where we started.
Dude, honestly, I give you like 10,000 points for that move right there because I would have never asked that ever again.
Yeah, that was smooth.
Shout out to Slovenia because I didn't even know there was a fucking country until
I
like
just figured
a year
it out.
ago.
Yeah, that's
a low key place, man.
I was 28 years old when I figured that out.
Friend of mine.
It's great.
That was today.
Friend of mine. Dude,
it's beautiful.
A friend of mine is from Bosnia. He says that's really nice. Bosnia, Croatia. He says
Croatia's dope.
Beautiful. Actually, that's where he got this jersey from.
There you go.
Czech.
Yeah.
Prague is like one of my favorite cities of all time. So gorgeous.
My girlfriend's from Belarus. I've always wanted to go back to Russia.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Would be really just for the heck of it.
And Switzerland, man.
Yeah.
Switzerland. Oh, so what was that like? You went there?
Yeah, I went there.
Is it really like wrapped in the mountains out there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the first trip, I was just in Geneva, which was like cool. But then second trip, I was like, I need to go in Switzerland. So I flew into Zurich from somewhere. rented a car for a few days. Which Zurich is just like the cleanest. Shout out to Europe. Their cities are so fucking clean, dude.
Yeah, my girlfriend said that too. She
It's
went to
flawless.
Germany,
It's like you're going over to an apartment and just someone just.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this is a city. Like you go to New York and it's like it just smells like a literal butt.
Well, like I went to Montreal not too long ago and it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, man.
Yeah, but then I had a car, so I was like, I drove 2 hours into a little village called Lauterbrunnen, which is just like nestled in the mountains, and it's just the most beautiful place ever. And then there's like these cliffs, and then up on the mountains are these little villages that you can't drive to. You can only get to by cable car.
What?
Or like hiking up there, and there's just like
just to transcend the elevation, just to get all the way up there.
They can't. No roads. Like there's roads, but
can you fit
like,
cars in there?
You can like there's maybe some trucks up there just for like farming, but you can't drive up there. There's no roads that lead there. So I just hiked up like an hour and a half to Grindelwald or something it's called.
This is Switzerland, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're just like on like 1,000 feet up, and then there's just like mountains just surrounding, and it's just this little village farm town. Then you hike 40 minutes up in this other beautiful town with like little restaurants and shops and shit, and you're just like isolated.
That's awesome.
Can't drive, no cars, and it's just like the most fucking beautiful place.
Not to
ever.
get grimmer, but Hitler, I think, was Switzerland. He had the Eagle's Nest in Switzerland. It was just
Probably.
a fortress on top of a mountain, but there was a
Why
lower
wouldn't
city
you?
like that.
Dude, that's like
a little town.
That's the
just
place
like,
where
like meters up.
007 was too. That where I was just talking about. If you go the mountain up,
Yeah.
is where that was filmed.
One of the recent ones, right? Or was it back in the day?
I think like one of the OG ones.
Okay, yeah, I think I
But
know. I think I know what you're talking about.
I'll show you videos after. It's just like
That's cool.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just like laughable. You're like, this is a real place and people
I know.
live here.
It looks like
Yeah.
it does look like a comic book illustration.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of Instagram like people will post stuff on there, take pictures while they're there and post it, and it's like, well,
I guarantee you've seen the town of Lauterbrunnen.
I'm
It's, like,
sure I have.
Famous. That's how I found out about it, is because just like so many instant photographers.
It's insane. I mean,
But
the fact that they've just weaved themselves into the mountains,
it's
and that's where
beautiful.
people live. Imagine taking that for granted, because people gotta. If you
Well, that's
see
I think
that
even
every
about
day.
Iceland or even them. I'm just like someone grew up here.
Yeah,
they
somebody
just,
grew
this
up
is all
here.
they know.
But then imagine them going to like New York City.
Oof.
You know what I mean?
totally.
That's what I think about
Oh, yeah,
people like
that'd-
Iceland.
that'd probably be
or
like, whoa.
Greenland, and you just see a city for the first time, like a real city.
I know. Well, I'll be honest. I'm so just detached, or not detached, but sheltered from not sheltered. What's a good word?
Mike
for
lives
that?
under a rock, is what he's saying.
When I go to a place with tall buildings, I can't like not stare at them. I'm like, what the
I know.
fuck?
Yeah, no, I feel
You know
that.
what I mean? You're like, whoa.
That's what's
look
cool
how
about
big
Europe,
this is.
though, is that all their cities are so old that they don't have.
Yeah, some of
there's
them.
no. I call London the New York of like.
Yeah, yeah.
Europe,
well, you
but
know
even
what's
then-
funny? Their cities, their I guess original cities are obviously older, but like when cities really became the skyscraper-esque types that we
Yeah.
see today, we have the older ones, believe it or not, because it's like
Yeah,
the
no, that makes sense.
post-industrial age kind of built up all these cities here in America. Then you go to places like, London's a great example with all this new renovated architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Reykjavik. Same with I think Lisbon,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a couple places in Spain. But my point is the city infrastructure sort of was a little bit more of had a little bit more of a modern approach when they started building all
Yeah.
those. I mean, look at like the Middle East, from Dubai and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nuts out
crazy.
there. Or Singapore,
Isn't Dubai where the
China.
tallest
even.
building is?
Yeah, that's where that freaking I don't even know what
Tallest
it's
building
called.
in
Dubai or Abu Dhabi? Let me see.
Check, it's Dubai. It's
But-
it's that pointy building.
Is it? Or is it
I like get upset when I'm in Europe and I see like skyscrapers. I'm like, I don't want to fucking see this.
I know.
I'm like,
I
that's why
came
I'm
here.
That's why like Prague is just like stunning.
Mhm.
Or Ljubljana and like Slovenia. All these like more Eastern European cities are just gorgeous. And what I love about Europe is like every city has its own charm. Like Edinburgh is just like
It does have its own thing.
you're just like I'm in Harry Potter. Like this
Right.
just feels fake. And then you go to London versus like Dublin versus Berlin,
mm-hmm.
and it's just like
It's kind of cool how
It's sick.
they have their own sort of theme, style, culture, whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it to them, and you almost get that here, but we've like America took the all-in-one approach.
mhm.
When like the reality is each state is almost a little different, but it's the same. We all use the
yeah.
the same language.
That's what's cool over
and-
there. 3-hour
Yeah.
train ride, new language, new culture.
You
new
have this completely,
visuals.
this completely different history, even.
Yeah.
Because like all the states here might have little intricacies to their history, but it's all sort of under the one United States history type of thing.
Yeah.
Versus there, it's like obviously the history of Switzerland is going to be a lot different than the
Yeah.
history of Germany, for instance,
Yeah.
or
Definitely.
Spain.
Definitely. It's
so-
cool though, man. Like I love it over there. I've been met with a lot of hospitality, met just amazing people from all over the world. This
Hey,
place is from shout out to Drum Academy in Warsaw. That's the first
No
place
way.
I did
Poland?
place I
Poland?
did a clinic,
Cool.
actually. A drum clinic was in Poland, which was super
That's awesome.
absurd. And then last year I did a 3-day drum camp. I taught a 3-day drum camp there.
What's that?
Nice.
How does a drum camp go? What is that about?
So it's funny, like I was like pretty nervous going in because it was 3 days, 7-hour days, 1 hour for lunch. So just like 18 hours of drum content. And I was like,
Holy crap!
I don't know if I can fucking do that.
How many people were with? Like you were teaching a group of people? I'm
Yeah,
assuming?
every day. So it's probably like not that much, like 7 or 8. But it was great because like
Still taking 7 or 8 people under your wing to teach them
Yeah.
how to do something as complex as drumming is.
yeah. But it was nice because like I was worried going in that as a teacher you don't want like if they get everything you're saying really quick, that's actually shitty. Because then
Yeah.
you just run through time and in 2 hours you're like, I don't have material.
Right.
But it was nice where they were all good drummers, but like I would show them stuff and it wouldn't come super easily, and I was like super refreshed because I was like, oh, we can actually dive into this.
Yeah.
And, like take time to do it. And I went in with a game plan. Obviously, I didn't wing it, but like it was really cool and super humbling. Because at that time, I'm still a nobody.
Right.
I mean, I
Right.
have 10K, but that's no one.
Right.
And at that time, I only had like 5, and I'm just like, they paid for my hostel, they gave me lunch every day, and I was just like, I don't know, one of those moments where I'm like going to the place to teach, and I'm like, I'm alone halfway across the world, and like 8 Polish people I don't know are
Yeah.
coming here to spend 3 days with me to learn from me. Like I was like,
That's wild.
this is absurd.
Now, do you know Polish too or no?
No.
Really?
Did they speak English at least?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
that's
speak
cool.
it well. Everywhere over, dude. I've spent like
Dude,
4
it's
months there.
very convenient.
I've
to go
run
to
into
Europe.
2 people maybe
Yeah.
that didn't like, but it was I don't know, it was really cool. It was really humbling. So just one of those like surreal moments where I'm like, what is life right now?
Right.
Like I haven't even done this in the States, and like people are willing to just I don't know. It was really cool. So shout out.
Yeah, for
Drum
real. Are
Academy.
you in touch with any of those guys? Any of the friends you made? Any of the students you had? I mean,
Yeah, I mean I'm in touch with them. I talked about maybe next June going over doing some stuff
going
again.
back there and teaching
Yeah.
them some more stuff.
Yeah, well it's just fun and like
Dude, I bet.
again
I mean,
humbling because like
it's your passion too.
yeah, and again it's like I'm not anybody, so it's absurd to me that like anyone
Well,
would care enough to do that because I'm like
if you have the ability to
You know?
teach, that alone is a pretty valuable thing. You know,
mhm.
like you said, you're diving into the fact that when you're presenting somebody with a curriculum, it's not so important always that they pick up right away, but rather understand the process or have the questions. You know what I mean? Because failing and asking questions are a really important part of learning.
Yeah.
So when you're really good and you pick something up right away, sometimes it works against you in that sense.
Yeah.
And you know, you having the ability to recognize that is huge, I'm sure, and a lot of
Yeah.
people probably benefited of. Do you know of any of the students you had going off and doing other things or continuing their education?
I'm not in. They were all older, which was cool.
Oh, nice.
So I know they're all still practicing and stuff. I'm not in specific contact with them, but I mean, it was cool. They seemed to appreciate it a lot. They grew from it, and yeah, it was just again a surreal, just like humbling opportunity.
And is
Yeah,
that what
man.
you did all over those different countries?
No, it was just
Like,
in Poland.
Just in Poland.
And I got to play some open mics and like do some shit in other places.
Yeah. How
but,
do you
like,
how do you get involved with that? Was it?
with the Poland one?
Yeah.
So I was
How do
in
you find that?
on my first trip. I had booked 6.5 weeks
Mhm.
and then didn't have a return flight because
That's awesome.
I was just like,
Fuck that.
That's called rolling the
Yeah.
dice, baby.
I wasn't like I'm gonna stay
We'll figure
here
it out.
forever, but I didn't
We'll
want to
figure
do
it
it.
out, yeah.
So this dude, my homie Maciek, who's from Poland, who's a drummer for this.
That sounds very Polish. It's a badass
Yeah.
name.
What's her name?
Maciek, spelt very weird.
Yeah.
Oh
But,
yeah, it was a lot.
I don't even want to say your last
yeah,
name if
it's
you're
all right.
watching this because
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck it up. But
yeah.
he's a drummer for this Norwegian dude named Owain, who's just like phenomenal instrumental prog musician. And I've known him on Instagram, and then he hit me up and was like, yo, like, if you want to roll through, I got you on a place. And I was like, hell yeah. So then I extended my trip a week and a half, went to Poland, Czech, and then ended in Germany.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so then I was like, dope. And then he just hit me up one day. He's like, yo, you want to do a clinic? And I was like,
awesome.
I
That's
guess,
cool.
like, if you think so, like, if you think I'm worthy to do a clinic. And then he was like, word. And then 2 hours later, he's like, yo, you're doing a clinic. I was like, fuck, okay. And then did that, in 2018. And then last year when I hit him up, because I hit him up before I went out, and I was like, yo, let's do something again. And they were like, let's do a drum camp. I was like, shit, okay.
Oh, shit.
And then 3-day drum camp.
Being so involved, as your passion, drumming, we'll say, just as standalone, did you find that you learned a lot about yourself when you were teaching it?
Definitely about my craft.
I've always said that about myself. Like, we'll have interns. I'm in the fitness industry, so me and all the people I work with, we're all strength and conditioning coaches, and we'll have interns at times. And I always say it really tests your knowledge on something and how when you have to teach somebody else.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? And I feel like it helps
agree.
me understand what I know.
Yeah, no,
when I
agree
have
with
to
that.
teach somebody else what
Yeah,
I know.
no. And especially because I learned so young that I don't remember.
Right, I was
learning.
gonna say, if you said 2,
Yeah.
would you like? Get
I literally
the hands
don't.
out?
I don't remember. Yeah, there's like a classic video of me with
Really?
hands. Yeah.
No kidding. I always tried that and it was extremely annoying.
But like,
It's not good.
dude, I don't.
Mike still does it to this day.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I don't remember
I don't have
learning drums
neighbors,
though. Like I don't remember learning. I just remember being able,
Yeah.
like able,
Is it
being
to the
able to play.
Is it to the point now most of it's like muscle memory kind of? Like,
Oh,
is
for
it-
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go to college for music?
Yeah, just went to HCC. Got a 2-year degree. That took
Nice.
me 4 fucking years, but whatever.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey, however you get
It's a
there, it doesn't
worthless
matter.
degree.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Music comes
whatever.
at its own pace.
Yeah, but anyway, it's like, so teaching beginners, it can be tricky because I'm like, I don't remember the process of this because I learned when I was like 4.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't remember any of this.
Second nature to you right now. You
Yeah.
just-
And also a lot of shit you do, you don't like analyze. It makes you analyze your craft more because a lot of stuff I'll do and I know how to do, but I never broke it down. So when someone inquires about it, you're like, how do I do that?
Yeah.
Like, how do I even present this to someone? Because I haven't even thought about it. I just know how to do it.
Mhm.
Or like, I don't remember the process. And that's the thing. I just have such a shitty memory anyways, that like, there's a lot of stuff like concepts I've like dove into over the years that I'm like, I don't remember what my process was, like what my thought process was, where my head was at when I like dove into all these nerdier
Right.
it's
concepts.
interesting. I don't know. It's kind of like one of those things where I feel like you
Well,
get.
it's like when I was playing
yeah.
the piano the other day. Like I play like a little. Like I learned some stuff on YouTube years
Yeah,
ago.
I got my piano with me.
No kidding, really? Like
Yeah,
a
it's
little
in my
synth?
car.
Oh, nice. And I swear to God, it never dawned on me till I was like sort of explaining to him, oh, this and that. And it's like, I can't play one without the other when I'm playing it.
Yeah.
And that's obviously not a good thing because I don't even know what I'm doing. It is muscle memory for me in that sense. So it kind of
Yeah.
really tests, how skilled you actually are.
Yeah.
In
And
a lot
for
of
me, I'm
ways.
pretty knowledgeable, like theoretically
Mhm.
on the stuff. So like, I do have that advantage point because a lot of people are like killing drummers, but they just don't know
Yeah.
the theory. So then they're kind of limited in educating people on stuff.
Right.
And I kind of have the rep right now of like being the nerdy drummer dude.
Right.
You know, because I dive into a lot
So,
of
like the technicality of it,
yeah, I like all the
tempo and
subdivision, metric modulation, all the nerdy shit
nice,
that means
nice. Yeah,
nothing
well,
to
yeah.
anyone.
Keep going.
It
What
can
are
I feel
the?
like it could separate. It separates the good from like
Right,
you
right.
know,
Yeah.
like the average.
Well,
from
and
the
too, it's just like
great,
some
you know?
people just naturally gravitate to more complex shit. I've always listened. My dad, like, I grew up listening to prog and just complex music and shit.
Right.
So
Well, I'm sure it really helps to be able to break it down into the technicalities.
yeah,
'Cause-
and listening to the complex stuff too. I always had it in my head. I just didn't know what it was. So when I started learning, like, oh, this is not a time signature. This is what this is. Then I could like, I already had the stuff to apply it to. I kind of equate it to like if you're growing up with Spanish speaking parents,
Yeah.
you're just gonna learn Spanish easier.
Yeah.
So it's the same idea that a lot of that shit's been in my head.
Mhm.
I just didn't know what it was.
Yep.
But
Actually,
yeah.
that's a really good way to put it.
I like all that nerdy shit, man.
Yeah. That is, it's crazy that kind of learning curve you get when you grow up with people who are doing or speaking. So like, I actually lived in Portugal for 2 years when I was a kid. So
Dope.
my whole family lives there. And I was obviously fluent in English when I went there. But by the time I left, I was fluent in Portuguese, which is a weird period of my life because it was to the point where I was thinking in Portuguese. That environment is everything when you're learning.
Are you
It doesn't
still
matter
fluent
what.
in that?
Yeah, well, my grandparents don't know how to speak Portuguese, and they live here, and I see them quite frequently, as well as sometimes visit over there when I can. It's very far and few between, but it's always nice to see the family. But it is such an amazing your mind. I always tell people, if you want to learn a language, go there.
Yeah, that's
Go
what
That's what they
there.
always say. Yeah.
Do it. Just go there. You want to learn how to play an instrument? Get the instrument. Go.
Yeah, you just
know,
have to just dive.
Dive
like
into
what?
it.
10,000 hours to become
Yeah.
a master,
Master, but-
something.
but even
you gotta
that-
be master. This
I don't know if
point.
I
Yeah.
hit that, but
Oh, you've hit that.
You gotta be,
10,000
yeah.
hours is like 5 years.
Well, it's the
Maybe.
other thing too. Is like I think there's something different. I think there's something different between being good at something and teaching something.
Yeah.
And I've come to find out with just different aspects, even with what I do in my career.
10
Like just
years.
because just because somebody is good at something doesn't automatically mean they're going to be able to teach.
well,
it.
that's
And
what I was saying.
It's a good
Some
skill.
of
Like
the
yeah.
goats in the drumming world
Yeah.
are fucking horrible
But
at teaching.
because
Yeah.
I feel like if you get better at teaching, like that could even help you become a better drummer too. I feel like.
Well, it's
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
dimension to your
Yeah.
skill.
Yeah.
It is really another dimension.
Well, and then I sometimes will say things in lessons that because I mean speaking is just improvisation. You don't know
Yeah.
what you're ever gonna say every time you open your mouth. So sometimes I'm teaching something and then I'll say something and I'm like, I should listen to that because I've never even thought of that.
Yeah.
They're
really
like, how do you
weird.
do this? And I'm like, this is how you do it. And I'm like, I've never even
It's
said
weird
this in
how-
my life. Maybe I should listen to
Yeah.
myself because it's a
Yeah.
good idea.
If you do something enough, it's just weird. Like I find it with different things. You do it enough, it's weird how sometimes you just do it on autopilot, and you
Yeah.
kind of underestimate how much you actually do know until you're talking to somebody or somebody asks
Yeah.
questions.
And then sometimes too, it's tough because sometimes it's just like the only advice just feels shitty. Where it's just
Yeah.
like, how do you do this? Just do it a lot.
Just do- yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get fast? You just practice.
Yeah.
Repetition, yeah.
That's like being like I can curl 20 pounds, but I want to curl 50 pounds. How do I do it? Well,
Just do it
you're not
quick.
going to get that
Yeah. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
one step. Like
Yeah,
you
you
just
gotta
have to do
Dude,
it.
curl 20 pounds more. You
Yeah,
know what I
exactly.
mean?
It's just like speed's the same way. You know, get your technique good.
Exactly.
But
Know
then
what you're
it's just
doing and then
time.
try to do it fast.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I do agree that you analyze yourself way more or your craft way more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
that-
fun. I enjoy that.
that's back to what I was thinking too. Is anytime I have to explain something to somebody, I realize, shit. How much of this do I really know?
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know?
and that's why
It's a
I'm
good test for
grateful.
yourself.
Yeah, it's a good test for
Yeah.
myself. I'm like, shit.
So I'm grateful I know the theory behind drumming and all the rhythmic
Yeah.
nerdy stuff.
Gives you a
that-
bit more confidence when you talk
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Are you looking to go back to school for it? Or I was gonna say
Never.
it's something you can learn on your own. There's a lot of things like that, and one thing specifically with music that I didn't really appreciate about the academic, and you might be able to attest to this, but the academic approach to it, they're gonna teach you how, in a lot of ways, to play a certain instrument based off of people who are good at playing that instrument. Because really, the only knowledge we have of professional, we'll use the piano for instance, professional piano players was like Mozart, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky. You know what I mean?
Elton John.
All these different.
Billy Joel.
Well, yeah. Well, those they learn. You know what I mean? The way they learned is again that's going to be Beethoven, Bach, these people, and it's not the case. That's not. That does not mean that is the only way or the best, even the best way to play it.
No.
That's just how professional people played, and I think sometimes they try and put that on students as if
Especially
that's
with piano.
yeah, as if that's the technique. When
That's
quite
why
honestly,
I always try to teach conceptually rather than specifics. Like with drumming, there's a lot of like obsession with like stickings and patterns and chops, and it's just like I could show you that's cool, but then I equate it to like that's like me teaching you how to say a word but not the meaning. So
Yeah.
okay, now you know how to say aggrandize, but you have no fucking idea what it means. So it's like you're never gonna implement it.
exactly.
So I'd rather teach you like here's a concept, like a general idea of something. That way I can teach you it. You can understand my thought process of why I'm playing what I'm playing, doing what I'm doing, and then you can take it and run with it in your own way, and then you can create your own shit out of it. I'm not just giving you a specific thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's vital for like creating your own voice because that's what's important for me on my instrument. It's like I want someone to hear a clip of me and go, "That's Joel." You know what I mean? Like I want to actually say something on my instrument. I don't
It makes a lot of sense that you say that
regurgitate.
too, because looking at the videos of some of your of the videos you post of you drumming, it seems so technical what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's certainly a lot of technique and a lot of probably just the technicalities that would go over most people's heads who aren't familiar with.
I definitely play too many notes. I don't need to
Yeah.
play that much shit. It's just fun.
Well, I'm sure it comes with the knowledge though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like I said, like I like diving like
Now, are there any drummers like you like have? Because I gotta imagine, like I know with athletes and stuff, like they like some of the greats always
Were
like.
you pretty bummed when
Yeah.
Neil Peart died?
I actually was never that into Neil.
Okay, well, there
I
you
mean,
go.
he's a legend.
Yeah,
I
like
know.
what are your some of your like? Do you have any like
Yeah.
drummers that you look up to? Anybody that you looked?
None
Or like
that
musical people in general?
my homie Matt Gartzka, shout out. He actually grew up in Westfield, but he's like one of the biggest in the game right now. And he was
Who's it?
Matt Gartzka.
Okay.
Was a huge influence on me when I was like 18 to 20. I would like watch clips of him every day, basically for like 2 years. Just
No
being
kidding.
like, what the fuck is he doing? And he inspired my playing a lot.
Is it Travis Scott? He's another.
Travis
No,
Barker.
Travis
Barker, sorry.
Yeah.
Who's Travis Scott?
Travis Scott's a rapper.
But what's funny is like, and I'm
I
sure
was about
you.
to say Travis Pastrana. I was
That-
going everywhere.
Hell
I was
yeah.
going everywhere.
That's a throwback, dude.
Yeah, right there.
But what's funny is like, and I'm trying to be cautious of not sounding pretentious.
Yeah.
But like, I'm sure you have this in the fitness world or something where like, Travis Barker in the drum world ain't shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like he's kind of like, I'm trying to think of another example of just like
In other words,
on the outside, because people don't know the depth of this
He's
realm.
if like athlete wise, like team wise, like if you think the NBA, he's like the Lakers.
He's very
He's
popular.
kind of like the Lakers. Like
Yeah.
he's
Exactly.
for the casual fan, kind
Yeah.
of like the casual kind
good
of
show. It's a good show.
Yeah, and not to, he's legendary. He's a good
It's who
drummer.
people know. Like,
But if you're
yeah.
talking about like the top of drumming, I mean, he's not even
There's others.
remotely
Yeah.
close to that.
There's
No,
You know
he's
what I
just
mean?
famous. That's,
Yeah.
that's where.
And that's the thing is
That's the
that-
best way to round it up. He's a famous
and he is
drummer.
really
but
good. But to your point,
Yeah.
there's others that
Mhm.
just aren't as popular.
Yeah, and it makes sense because it's less attainable. The more complex you get,
Yeah.
the average listeners.
Well, think about what.
I'm not
Here's
gonna
probably a
fucking
good
get it.
example. Like Elton John's great with the piano, but he's no Beethoven or Bach.
yeah.
You know what I
He's not
mean?
like-
He's more famous for sure.
How fucking dare you? We're
Wait,
about to
Elton,
fucking
you
throw
see
down
the-
right
Did you
now.
see the movie?
Not yet.
It's a good movie.
Probably is. I guess.
It's one of
But-
those sing-alongs, but
That's why like
Or
people
not
don't like
sing-along.
jazz.
yeah.
It
hard
just
to
goes
follow.
over their head.
hmm
And it's the same idea, and that's why as someone that's into prog and like complex music, I hate when people who are into that are like, why isn't this getting? This should be what's famous. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Why if
I hate
if you
that.
didn't play music, why would you listen to shit
Yeah.
that's so nerdy and you have no idea what's going on?
Yeah.
It'd be like me attending a quantum physics class and I failed algebra. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm not gonna fucking get it.
Yeah.
So it's the same idea where it's like I understand that like to the average listener, they're gonna see Travis Barker, he's fucking hitting high, playing fast. Like,
Yeah.
whoa, and I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
But
No, if you
He's no
honestly,
Ringo Starr.
I completely agree with you. Though he does kind of, it is kind of straightforward what he's doing. It's
Yeah.
nothing really. That's
yeah,
I don't want to say not that it's not special, but it's really
in the grand scheme of it,
probably
it's not at all.
trivial. Kind of, it's just sort of.
And it's one of those things that I've learned that like
He's good at following along.
you can't like unless you're part of like drumming is like the only thing I can look at and actually observe and know the depth of
And
it
critique.
because that's the
Yeah,
only thing I
Yeah.
am like good at.
Yeah.
Whereas like I could watch baseball and like I don't know the Travis Barker of baseball and I'll never be able to distinguish that because I just don't know the craft.
And any baseball player to you is just going to seem good. And like to someone
Exactly.
like myself or like Mike,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
looking at Travis Barker, he's like, wow, he's really good. Because to us, he is. Because we
Right.
have like, we
Yeah.
don't know anything.
Because
And
he
you-
can hit the ball out of the park.
Exactly.
You know
and
what I
and to be able to distinguish the nuance of what makes someone like a goat versus great versus good, you have to do the craft. And if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't, you just truly like
I get that
can't know it,
completely.
you
I
know?
understand what you're saying.
Like
It's
I
like
know Ringo
anything.
Starr's not good, but only because people say like he's
Yeah.
just, but I don't know why, like what makes
Yeah.
like, you know.
You know, that's actually an even better example of the depth in and popularity for piano. Like Paul McCartney was good at piano, but like not that good, and that guy was about as famous as Jesus is.
I don't know. He was pretty fucking good though. I mean,
but like
But
no
then that
Bach,
gets
no
down to, like-
Tchaikovsky.
well, yeah,
yeah.
but
And then it can get down to
But that's
the
what the
like
depth he's
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. you know what I mean?
technicality is slightly irrelevant if you're making shit that sounds great. That's the
Yeah.
cool thing
Yeah.
about music and why I always gravitated towards that rather than sports. I mean, I like skateboard, but like I never was into team sports because it was too rigid.
Mhm.
And it's kind of purely competent based. Like if you suck at basketball, then you're never going to be a basketball player. You just
Yeah.
suck at it.
Yeah.
Whereas like a musician, like you don't even have to be that good, but you can make shit that sounds amazing.
Right,
And
keep
that's
it
all that matters.
simple.
Just simple chord progression and you just made someone cry.
Yeah.
It's
that's
beautiful.
What, I mean, not for nothing.
That's
But
what's
I
cool.
love the Beatles, but they always said that about Ringo. Like
Yeah.
the only reason, like he wasn't one of the best, but he could just work with what they were like, and he just could do enough to make like the drums
Yeah.
sound good enough with the music there.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
to what you were saying too, look how many songs they made off the same 4 chords.
Oh, of course.
It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? I think there's a viral video that went that was everywhere, viral, and it was these guys going, I bet you we can play 30 songs with these 4 chords, and I figured if it was like America's Got Talent or something, and they just rocked the show. It was actually awesome, but it was like, well, damn, I feel ripped off.
You go back
money
to
back.
you go back to the 50s, and they had that same like 1-6-4.
Yeah.
I know what
you mean,
that
though.
fucking thing
Well,
is in
rock and
every
roll does
goddamn
that.
song.
Rock and roll does that a lot with the same. You probably could attest to this. The same drum line. It was like like Nirvana used the same one quite a few times.
There's like 3 drum beats in every song.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Like all you need.
Exactly.
It's cool to see the progression though of like different bands like the Beatles. Like that's what made them so different is because Beatles, Led Zeppelin, like they were different than what else
Music's
was out there.
always evolving.
Yeah,
And that's why I like the nerdy shit.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's obviously not bashing on them. They are popular. They are great. I love the Beatles. You know what I mean? But when it comes to the depth of a skill,
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I was just talking about specifically Ringo Starr because like he just the rest of the Beatles definitely are still up there.
Yeah, he doesn't have much of a story. I mean, I know a lot about.
I mean, if it wasn't for the ego of Pete Best, Ringo wouldn't even been the drummer.
Yeah.
Pete Best would have been the drummer of the Beatles.
But that's why I like the nerdy shit, because I like the idea of like pushing a craft further. Because if you look at every era, there's like the few that like took it into what it is, and you have to have like someone pushing the boundaries of it, and that's why not to claim I am, but like that's a hope. You know? And with like all the
I don't
odd
think there's anything wrong
subdivision
with
nerdy
claiming
shit.
that you are. I mean, I like to think that anybody who's passionate about something should be pushing the boundaries of it. I mean, that's
There's
all the
certain
greats have.
there's certain territories with like the odd subdivision, metric modulation, all the weird shit that is seemingly unexplored in the grand scheme of shit. And there's only like a few drummers right now that I'm like, okay, they're pushing it, and that's like my hope is like, I want to be someone at the forefront of this evolution of this stuff.
Who do you look up to in that way?
Matt Gartzka's another, like, back to him. I mean, he's pushing that stuff in ways.
Oh yeah, what band's he in?
A band called Animals as Leaders.
Oh, okay.
They're like the instrumental prog band.
Now, do you think like because I see this even with
Look that up really quick. What is prog, or rather?
So
well, you could actually
it's
probably
such a
just tell me.
term that like
Because I want to. I want to
can-
know what the genre is. What does it say on the computer?
it's so hard to explain. Progressive,
Prague, like the city.
Oh, progressive.
Is it
No.
spelled that way?
progressive.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
it stands for. Like
No, what
progressive
is-
metal.
It's a genre.
It started with progressive metal. It's more just like, it's kind of broad, more nerdy, more like odd time signatures, more versatile. I never know how to explain this to people.
Yeah. Well, that's just
But-
it. With genres, it's tough because how would you describe the difference between rock and metal? You know what I mean? You could just say maybe it's more hardcore.
So like
or-
Tool. Google's telling me
Tool would
Tool's
be-
okay, so that makes sense. Like Tool.
Like
You
Rush.
listen to
I
Tool.
love
Yeah,
Tool.
okay.
Rush, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Tool would be prog. Yeah, I could show you
Okay,
a lot
that
of
makes
shit.
sense.
The band,
like
yes?
synthy kind of is it? It doesn't. Does it have to be synthy? But like,
No.
I guess I kind of see like with Tool and Rush how it could be like progressive.
Yeah,
metal.
and I
It's
never
different.
like as someone
Yeah.
that's literally grown up on prog, I still never know how to explain it to people. But like that
Yeah,
as a reference point.
Yeah, I
Dream
gotcha.
Theater. I don't know if you've ever heard Dream Theater. They're
I see it on
iconic.
here. That sounds familiar for some reason.
Yeah, but like they're iconic prog bands. But what were we saying?
I was gonna ask about like because for me like I see like sports now like it's almost like with music it seems like with the way technology's gone like you can look more into it like I feel like even with sports at a certain point like they're getting so technical with people's like diets and making sure like you can test to it with like training and stuff. People like athletes are way more into like their own bodies and stuff and so I don't know like it's technology or like it's very interesting to see like I don't know where I was going.
Well, I
with
mean
this,
everything's evolving
Yeah.
now quicker because like
yeah.
well, the
with-
progression of it. In other words,
Yeah.
like I kind of know what you're saying.
People are just looking at stuff different than
The
they
time, so before Michael Jordan made his first slam dunk, nobody else was doing that.
Exactly.
As soon
Yeah.
as people saw that was possible, they were pushing themselves
Exactly.
to do
It's
that.
like
And
that
they were-
modern
they were start-
Yeah,
it was like
cliche.
that with everything. Yeah.
But now with Instagram and you have just like just anyone in their bedroom just fucking destroying it.
Yeah.
And anyone can see it. Then it's like now it's just evolving at a rapid rate because now some 15-year-olds watching shit that like everyone
And
else is doing killing it and then they're just going and
It's
shedding it.
amazing too how much you can do with the computer.
Yeah, it's
hats off
insane.
to you too for really getting into the
I'm trying, I'm
digital
trying to
version of
figure
music.
that out.
As much as a lot of people have to hate on it, and there's so much to obviously and always be appreciated about authentic music with actual instruments. It is a good idea to dive
And you're
into
still playing it, you
Just-
know?
yeah, it's-
Everything I wrote for my record, I still wrote and played on a piano.
Well, if you were to ask yourself, well, what is music? It doesn't really matter where it comes from. It just matters what
just
it is
vibration.
and how it feels to you. Yeah.
Yeah, and people think too, it's just like I said, even if you're hearing a synth or something that's not a real instrument, you're playing it on a keyboard, so you're still playing an instrument.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you can like straight up program it.
Right.
But even at the end of the day, it's like, does it sound good? Then why do you give a fuck if it's played? That's why
I know.
I hate all like 50-year-olds that are like, music. So it's like, shut up, dude.
Yeah.
Just listen to what you want to listen to, man.
Like if nobody,
exactly.
Honestly, too, if nobody told them it was generated on a computer, you'd never know.
Yeah.
Dude, you can set up a synth and play it like a piano and make all those noises.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not always that it's not that every single song you never know if it's actually.
And it's based on the function
made
too.
on a
Like
computer.
if you're making a bop that's specifically made to just be played in clubs, why would you don't need a full band to play it? Who gives a shit? Like you're only gonna hear it shit faced on a dance floor.
No.
So like, and it fits perfectly well for that.
You know what? Those people have never been to a Dead Mouse concert.
Dylan Francis or
No, Stevie Aoki.
Steve Aoki.
Are you
I saw
do
Steve
you like
Aoki.
any of those guys?
Steve
Like the
Aoki's
EDMs.
ridiculous.
Yeah, the EDM scene.
Never got into it. I like not like electronic. I never genre. I don't
It
know
can
what
be
the fuck
fun.
to call
It can be fun.
It's dope. I respect it. I'm not into it, but like
I've never been to any of those concerts, but
I went to
looks
Steve
crazy.
Aoki one time. That
was it cool?
dope. Yeah, it was
yeah,
awesome.
I could imagine. I mean, the reason why I ask is because they're huge in Europe.
yeah.
I mean, they love the EDM scene more than we
Berlin,
do here.
dude.
Yeah,
Berlin
they're
is,
just
like,
nuts.
huge
The whole
on that.
city lights up.
But like
this, the whole
Europe is
fucking
just
city, that buildings are
Yeah.
jumping.
Europe's broad. I think they're just more open musically in general. That's why touring over there is so good. But yeah,
I
I mean,
bet.
like I know like Berlin is fucking huge on the techno scene. They're ridiculous, dude. They party to like 9 a.m.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it, but
I
I
Europe.
thought everyone did.
dumb.
What are you talking about?
Europe is definitely, they love their celebrations. Even when I lived there as a kid, I mean, it was like every weekend there was some type of live music event. Not just a live music thing. It was an event with a stage and people. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't get it. I don't get it over there. I was in Berlin on a Monday night and left the club at 5:30 a.m. and it was like bumping when we left. I was like,
That's
"You guys
awesome.
have fucking jobs.
no
What
one's
are you
done.
doing
They're
here?"
not done.
Guy I worked with went to Poland. He's from Poland, or his family's from Poland. He went to Poland with a couple of his buddies. I remember him saying the same thing. They'd come out of like clubs and just be like
Dude.
ridiculous. Like, it just ridiculous.
Yeah,
the amount they
when
party
I
and how
got
long
to
they do.
Berlin, well, that's a whole story. First day I got to Berlin, dude.
what happened?
I was in Warsaw.
Yeah.
Took an overnight bus to Berlin, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
8 to 5, 9 hours. Phone died an hour in.
So you went to Germany?
Yeah, from
Nice.
Poland on bus.
Okay.
So 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. Hour in, my phone died.
Oh.
Went to charge it, and the ports like didn't work.
Yeah,
So
you need
and
a,
I slept 5 minutes maybe.
Oof.
So just 9 to 5 a.m. just awake on a bus. And then I
Talk
get
about fun.
great time. Then I got there to the bus station, and I was like, I don't know where the fuck I am.
Yeah.
Like my phone's dead. Went to charge it. That thing didn't work. So I was like, I guess I'll just walk into the city and just see what happens. Tired as fuck. And then, yeah, when I was walking to the city, it was like 6 a.m. and there's like bars with some people still in it. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
right?
But it was super cool. Like, it's super eerie. No one was out, and it was actually really nice. But anyways, I was like, oh, a Starbucks opens at 9. So I can go.
In that night? In the morning?
In the
rather?
morning.
Oh, in the morning.
This is like 7 a.m. I
That's
have
rough.
slept 5 minutes. So I wait till 9 a.m. for a Starbucks to open because I was like, I can charge my phone.
Yeah.
Get in. Starbucks finally opens. Finally charge my phone. Realize it wasn't the port. My charger's broken.
Oh,
Oh no.
Well, also before that, I was like, I know I'm staying at the Generator Hostel.
Yeah.
So I went into like a hotel. I was like, do you guys know where this is? And she's like, what one? I was like, I didn't even know there was 2.
Pull
So
my hands
I
up,
don't
walk
even
away,
fucking
done.
know what one
Fuck
I'm
this
at.
shit, I'm done.
Yeah, so I was like, I can't even look at a map because
Yeah.
I don't know what one I'm at because that's in my email. So then I had to wait till the Apple store to open at 10 a.m.
Oh, they didn't have an Apple charger or nothing?
And then finally I charged my phone there and it was like 3 miles away. And then I just walked there, got there at 2:30 in the afternoon and
Yeah.
finally fell asleep.
What a way to kick off your
Oh.
stay.
Most
Yeah.
tired I've ever been. It was painful to be awake. I was like, fuck.
Dude, that's kind of what happened to us when we landed in Iceland because we're waiting for a friend of ours who was studying abroad in Ireland. We got to Iceland. God, I want to remember the time correctly. I think we landed there. It was 4 a.m. The person we were waiting on wasn't landing till 2 p.m. So we're going off no sleep from the next day. Then we had to go for
That
an
first day in Europe's brutal.
8-hour drive
Mhm.
all the way to the other side of the island.
Mhm.
And by the time we got there, it was 8:30, maybe 9, tired as shit. And it was in a hostel where the upstairs was made out of paper. And
dude, I love hostels, though. I'm not going to lie. If you solo travel, go to hostels.
Well, what happened was there was a lot of running around. These people had a great week's worth of sleep, it seemed like, because they weren't going to bed. It was 10 and it was 11. We had to go say something to them. It was like, dude, what's going on? It sounded like there were goose walking up there. It was ridiculous how loud the stomping was. And it was like, dude, no sleep then either.
They're learning to walk in their clogs.
I probably did. Yeah, we didn't fall asleep till maybe like 1 o'clock, maybe midnight that time. It was like rough.
I love that shit. I love funny travel stories.
It's why you go. It's why you do it.
Oh, I love the chaos. I missed my flight
It's kind of the best part about traveling is that the unpredictability of everything.
Yeah, and the chaos.
That's what I always reference when I talk about traveling.
That's how you earn your stripes.
Yeah.
When I suggest traveling to people, I try to describe it in such a way.
Make sure it's as chaotic as possible.
No.
Just don't bring a bag, fucker.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about the chaos. Is
Dude, I would love that.
What's that?
That's like a dream, low key. Just bring one backpack and like
one thing of crackers,
just that
and
and
some water.
Yeah.
Just whatever you can fit in your pockets. Just a wallet.
Man versus Wild.
Dude, seriously. No, but that's always expected. But what I tell people when they're traveling, or rather when they're thinking about traveling, or when I advocate for traveling, it's like, listen, when you were a child, the reason why things were so exciting and time was much longer is because everything was new. That's a similar reaction you get when you travel. In my perspective, it's like everything's different, everything's new. You don't know how to read. You don't know what people are saying again. You know what I mean?
I never know how to read.
Kind of exciting.
That's a good way to put it, though.
You know what I mean? Because like
I agree, though.
If you go even just north of the border here in America to Canada, everything's in French immediately.
Yep.
You know, the good news is people speak English.
Yeah, that's the good thing about
Europe.
Like, that's why Europe's a good starting point.
Yeah, Europe's a great starting point. I mean, I would assume anywhere that's just different than here because it really, honestly, I've said before, you don't know what it's like living in this country until you've gone to another country.
Of course, that's why everyone that says we're the worst. I'm like, where have you been?
Yeah, where have you been? What do you mean?
Or just,
nowhere. Okay.
Even like a start, just get out of the own state. Even like a good start is just getting out of the state you live in. I feel like just get out of where you live. Go like across country, do something.
Yeah,
somewhere
not to
just
get
figure
like
it out.
Dude, it's
political, but that shit's so fucking annoying.
No,
it's like look, it's not like America's.
I agree completely.
It's not like America's perfect.
Yeah,
we obviously have our issues,
advantages, but it's got disadvantages.
But quit acting like it's the worst place.
Right.
Do you know how many places you would pick America over?
Oh, yeah.
Like, come on.
Especially if you've never been to another place.
Exactly. It's just naive at that point.
Yeah, like, oh, this is the worst. Tack on whatever you want to say, and it's like, all right, what's your comparison here?
Yeah, especially when you know. It's like everyone knows how bad life can get.
Yeah.
Everyone knows there's a billion people on the planet that don't have access to clean water.
It's more than that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
A billion fucking people.
There's a billion people in
and
India.
That's water.
Yeah.
One of you have, you just turn a thing and you have clean water.
There's another billion in China who don't have clean air.
Yeah.
You know?
And then people are out here bitching at 10-year-old tweets. It's like, fuck off, dude.
Dude, it's crazy.
Just live your life.
It's crazy. It is honestly a perfect demonstration of how privileged people are.
Yeah.
To the point where if somebody says something they don't like, that's it. They're fucking done.
It's all relative, though, and that's why traveling is good.
I mean, I'm sure they have the same political issues in other countries anyways.
And I don't want to say because I've only been to Europe, and Europe's still first world. I would love to go. I want to go to Southeast Asia. I want to go to South America and other places that are really different. But regardless,
South Africa would probably be a good one for you too. South Africa, I heard, is amazing.
Cape Town sounds real dope. But the idea of everything is relative. So if you've just grown up in this bubble where everything's fine, then the pettiest shit's gonna seem like an issue.
That's another
where
big one.
You can't even process. You can hear that oh, this person doesn't have clean water.
Yeah.
But until you go and experience it,
what it's like to not have clean water or a bathroom,
you just put that aside.
Yeah.
And that's why I've always wanted to go to a place that's pretty rough, because you're gonna come back from that and be like, this is fucking paradise.
Dude, that's what I said. I said, imagine what the structure of your life would look like on a day-to-day basis when you didn't have a bathroom. That component alone changes a lot of things up on what you're doing
just
throughout
another
the day.
day in the neighborhood for me. I never have a bathroom.
He's got a bathroom, but he doesn't use it.
I pick a corner.
No, but now layer that effect of not having ever left the country on top of never having lived in another state. And that's where a lot of people are at in all these individual states. So they have a lot to say about things, but they don't never lived anywhere else other than the state that they live in right now.
The thing I think
for more than a week.
I think the thing is just like humility. It's just like
Humility is
just admit
huge,
you
yeah.
don't fucking know anything. That's
That's
what I
hard
wish
for
people
people.
would do.
I know.
ego
Oh,
out
this
the
is
door.
turning in such a different direction.
That's
I love
right.
it.
Yeah, I know, dude.
love
Well,
it.
it's true though. Like, why? And it's fun. It's funny because it does feel as though it's frowned upon to say so. But let's be honest with ourselves, and we all go through it, even us in this room. You know what I mean? We have to do that to ourselves a lot.
Yeah.
I try to make sure I understand, you know where I'm coming from before I start saying things. But like sometimes it's like, it seems like people are just rolling their, spinning their wheels when it comes
Yeah.
to stuff.
Especially it's a lot of young people too, and I get it. They're like wanting to fight and
They got a lot of energy.
have a voice, but
Yeah.
also it's like, dude, you're 19 and you know nothing.
Right.
And you've lived nothing. So just like
That's another one
have
if you live
some
with your
humility.
parents too.
Yeah.
You gotta know what you know and what you don't know and be comfortable with that.
Exactly.
And just check the ego at the door. Just stop. Just
Yeah.
stop. Just fucking stop.
I at
hate
least
that.
I respect people when they preface, here's my opinion,
Yeah.
but I fucking don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, if you're
and I
at
could be
least-
wrong.
If you're gonna
Yeah.
state your opinion, be open to other people's opinion because you
Yeah.
can't state your opinion if you can't be open to what other people have to say.
Yeah, and that's the new
'Cause-
wave we're going in. Where it's just like
because you're just being very selfish if you're just thinking
Yeah.
about yourself.
you're like, I'm tolerant unless you think different, and then I'm
Yeah.
not tolerant. And it's
like,
like,
no,
that's
I
not
don't
how
care.
tolerance
Yeah.
works, dude.
Yeah,
Even right now, as we're having this conversation, I'm wondering, am I all right to say anything right now?
yeah, like Mike likes
Did I
Spider-Man.
check
And
myself
obviously,
enough?
Batman's the better superhero.
Listen, bro. No, I'm Batman.
You better be Batman.
Me and you were always Batman in
I
that
better-
argument,
okay.
all right?
I
So you
always
don't
think- I don't
start
know.
with me, buddy.
I don't know. At one point, I thought you were Spider-Man. I thought you might have liked Spider-Man.
No, that's Jameson, dude.
Oh,
that's
that's right,
all
okay.
those guys. I think Jeremy too.
They don't know.
No,
They don't know.
Batman's
But we're
better.
still friends with them. You know what I mean? That's the
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
We still love them.
We just don't talk to them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, they just have the wrong perspective.
Yeah,
It's okay.
dude.
We
Well,
stay
I mean,
far away,
On like a,
and
on
we
a,
censor everything they say.
on a bigger level, it's like, it still applies to everything. But yeah, man, it's just like I have friends who are Republican, I have friends who are Democrat, friends
Yeah.
who are Christian, atheist. Like I don't
Yeah.
give a shit.
Like, I also know that I don't know everything about politics or religion, so, like, be entitled to whatever
Yeah,
you want to know.
as long
like,
as you're not
yeah.
a dick, I
Just
don't
don't
care.
That's how I
force
feel.
it down my
that's,
throat.
that's how I feel
Exactly.
too about like race. It's like I have so many friends with so many different backgrounds, and it's
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't see why everybody makes it such a big deal to really put all this unnecessary attention onto people and paint them as victims all the time.
Mhm.
It's like, who cares? We're just people. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, that's an easy thing to say because everybody has their own individual lives. But my point is, if you keep making people victims, there's always going to be problems, and people
Yeah.
build expectations, and
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. You just gotta be tolerant of like. I fucking love when I like.
I'm glad I don't live in the city.
Yeah.
I'd like to visit.
I'm just happy. I like listening to like people I absolutely don't agree with.
Yeah,
I get more excited.
yeah, it is.
And that's
it
what
is.
bothers me is like people get so turned off. And I'm like, this is good. You're just if you're in an echo chamber the whole time,
It's bad.
you don't
it's
hear
so bad.
anything.
It's so
Dude,
bad.
if I like I
Well,
would
it's called-
talk to anyone, man.
That's called confirmation bias. When,
Yeah.
people are just sort of listening to the things they agree
exactly.
with repetitively.
and then
It is
that
so
just
healthy.
strengthens your
why social
disdain
media is
for
so bad.
Yeah.
opposition because if you're just consistently in this bubble of like the echo chamber that any foreign idea is just going to seem that much more intrusive and like, oh fuck,
Right.
got to fight that.
Rather
And
than,
it's like,
this is an opportunity to
Yeah.
learn what other people think.
and exactly. And it's like, I would talk to anyone,
Mhm.
literally anyone. You could give me I don't even know, a Nazi. And I would talk to them
Yeah.
just to be like, I want to just hear where you're like,
Yeah.
why are you like that?
And in a way, you'd be like, wow, no fucking way.
Yeah.
You're nuts. And I knew it.
Exactly.
You know
Yeah.
what I
I'd be
mean?
like, you're a fucking horrible
yeah,
person.
yeah.
But at least I know why.
Right. Well, no, but I would, just from a psychological standpoint, be completely intrigued as to just see them mutter out their reasoning, but
Mm-hmm.
for being the way they are, because it's such a foreign concept, especially something as black
Exactly.
and white as
Yeah.
everybody else and Nazis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's like,
And like empathy is understanding. Like that is what it is. It's
Right.
like your understanding of that person. That doesn't mean, and that's the thing, people conflate the desire to understand it with condoning it.
yeah.
Just because, and it's like, it's so hypocritical too, because it's like, what does everybody like to watch? Murder mysteries.
Right.
It's like, are we all murderers? No, but it's
No.
intriguing to see someone who
Exactly.
killed 50 people.
Well,
and
speak
you're
for
like, why?
yourself, but
Yeah.
No, but that's,
Yeah, dude.
that's a very
He's like,
good
that's
point.
why these are others' bodies behind it. No, but it's the same idea. It's just like, it's intriguing when you just meet shitty people. You're just like, why are you
Yeah.
the way you are? And have you ever heard Daryl Davis?
No.
So he's a famous, he's like a professional blues musician, but he's a black dude, and he befriended like the head of the KKK.
Oh yeah,
Who's
they made a movie of it. Fuck.
So basically, he befriended KKK members because he was just like, I don't understand how you can hate me if you don't know me. And he literally hung with the Klan, became friends with them, and at this point has made over 200 of them leave the Klan. He took the most racist people on the planet, and by having conversation and just being civil and having civil discourse, 200 of them left the Klan. That's the power of conversation and understanding. That's fucking insane.
And people like that don't want anybody part of the Klan does not want to listen to whatever you like. Does not want to listen
what he showcased was its ignorance.
Oh yeah,
he was telling a story where some guy was like, I've never had a drink with a black dude before.
Because it's like people like that. It's just what their family. It's like a I don't know. It's a generational thing almost. I mean, it's just
you just
ingrained in them not to just like.
Well, what I always say, and as controversial as it may be, is I don't really believe that racism exists in the black and white sense that a lot of people portray it to be. What does exist is bias. What does exist is prejudice. And when you don't understand something and then are on top of it taught to think a certain way about a certain group of people for whatever reason, right? Because I mean, this is just a level of dehumanization. Even when we talk about people and say black people, white people, there's really no difference between the two. I talked to you about this before. I'm like, well, describe to me what a white person is or a black person is without referencing any color. It's impossible. Because there's no quality that you can single out that it does not exist in one and not the other. And so it's like, okay, so now what? So by nature, obviously, you put children together. Children don't care what race anybody is, and obviously, so it's
just conditioning.
From a psychological standpoint, you can just pinpoint. Well, listen, this is
and it's ignorance.
Oppressive conditioning.
It's ignorance too, and what his story, which I think is like the most amazing shit ever, is that it just showcased literally civil discourse can change people. And we're not talking about like someone on the fence about something that's like, oh, I don't know. We're talking about the head of the KKK. Can leave the Klan and no longer be racist because one guy.
That's such a good point.
Befriended him.
Yeah, good
and that's
point,
what
Joel.
pisses me off about shit when people fight the opposite idea. It's like that's strengthening them. If someone's racist and you go fuck you, you're making them more racist. If you actually go, let me hear you out, not condone it. Not like
just let's talk.
Let me hear you.
No, dude, that's so true.
You could actually change their opinion and make them not racist.
And look at like what's going on now. They when I say they, the social media groups, right? The big heads of social media, Facebook, YouTube, all of them, put so much effort into silencing or we'll just say silencing for now. There's plenty other ways to go about it, but silencing any of that discourse. And not only that, have you seen Social Dilemma on Netflix?
I've seen some of the Joe Rogan podcasts about it. I haven't seen it yet.
That's probably a better way to look at it. But
Terrifying.
The point is, your social media platforms are working so that they only show you things that they know you like. So they create confirmation bias. The echo chamber. So in other words, you're only seeing the things you agree with, and on top of it, they're not encouraging, like we were just talking about before, people sitting down and talking to each other when they don't when they don't agree at all.
Well, the problem is like you can have a conversation like that. I don't think that there is any social media platform where we can have a conversation like that. Like, and that's the problem is people do it behind the keyboard.
It does turn into an argument.
And then people like, it's funny how people act when they're behind the keyboard. Like, obviously, like they're high and mighty. I got my ego. I'm writing my opinion. But when you have a personal conversation eye to eye, that ego goes away because people aren't going to be like, oh,
that's kind of why I like this format of
the Joe Rogan.
That's
content. It's just a conversation.
And like, you know?
I feel like too, like I look at like civil discourse again in
I like that word. I really like where you're going with that.
Making
civil
sure
discourse
you're
is
not
probably the most productive
and making
thing.
sure you're not conflating talking to someone with condoning their ideas.
Exactly.
And the idea is that if you think what's worst case scenario if I talk to, let's say, someone who's super racist and just try to hear them.
And it's kind of going in that way. Like, God forbid they find out, Joe, you're talking to that guy who's a known racist. What's up? You know what I mean? Now all of a sudden you're like on the spotlight, on the hot seat.
And I look at it, what's the worst case scenario? If I meet someone who's super abrasively racist and I go, talk to me about it. Like, why are you like that? Worst case scenario is I'm going to walk away having strengthened my argument. I'm going to walk away understanding him better. Or I might walk away changing his mind and making him a better person. Like, worst case scenario is all positives.
Yeah.
What's going to happen if you have civil discourse?
And
other than that,
in the format of talking about your opinions and not trying to convince, that's where a lot of that discourse, well, rather how those conversations become discourse, rather than just sharing, hey, this is what I believe in a genuine and sincere way to one another, even though you disagree, is more productive than me going, you know what you think is wrong and what I think is right.
And I'm going to tell you why you're
You know
wrong
what
and
I
why
mean?
I'm
Exactly.
right.
Like that doesn't go anywhere. That is a dead end.
Well, that's not a
immediately.
conversation. It's not a
and
conversation.
also,
it's
it's just like, when have you ever gone, hey, fuck you? And the person's like, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be this way.
Sorry.
Well, what sucks too is some
Never
people,
happens.
Like some people, I hate some because they're like, oh yeah, no, I conversate, I listen to people. No, because what some people do is they'll listen, they'll take in what you say, but then they'll totally just jam what you say down.
They're just they're just hearing noise and waiting for their turn.
And what's happened a lot too is that all of these issues too are not the fault of any other ethnicity. Like in other words, it's become we've ignored the fact that bias and prejudice are human qualities. We've ignored that fact by only pinning it. Yeah, we've only pinned it on anybody who's of a lighter skin color immediately. You know what I mean? Okay, you're definitely. It's impossible. It seems, at least from a political or social standpoint, that somebody with any ethnic background is racist. But I tell you right now, like Portugal, they're pretty racist. I've seen a lot of racist people there.
Same Poland.
Same thing with
a lot of places.
same with Iceland.
And this is my thing is that
like,
when people talk about the specific topic of racism, it's like, do you actually not think this doesn't exist in every country
and I
on
got
the
a lot
planet?
of Spanish friends who,
Yeah, racism is tribalism.
I don't say nothing.
Racism is tribalism. It exists everywhere. It's always existed. It's shitty.
It sucks. It's
fucking stupid.
Problem. Like, it's definitely a problem.
But man,
to act like it's unique to any one place.
And you know what else is shitty? Expecting perfection out of every single human. That's craziness.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
Well, it's weird. It's very, I don't know. It's very weird how people expect perfection from everyone around them, but not themselves. It should be the opposite
way. No
way.
one's self-aware, dude.
Yeah,
you
that's a
should
good point.
expect perfection from yourself, and who gives a fuck about anyone else?
Yeah.
I mean, hypocrisy is just rampant.
Oh, yeah.
I'm learning about myself and just everything. I'm just like, hypocrisy is an innate quality.
You ever listen to
of
Alan
existence.
Watts?
Yeah.
Dude, there you go. All right.
But just like
Alan Watts is my guy.
To exist, you are going to be a hypocrite.
Well,
in
true power comes from
self-awareness.
letting go of everything.
Yeah.
And being okay with everybody else's shit.
No expectation.
Yeah, no expectation. The moment you start to control the world around you is the precise moment you have no control over the world.
Yeah.
The moment you start to control yourself is the moment you become the most powerful person on the planet.
Yeah.
And that's a fact.
Could control what you can control, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, people are just never look inward, never realize that they're a fucking mess.
They're not enough. People aren't introspective enough.
That's
nowadays.
why I vibe with people who self-deprecate.
Yeah.
Humorously.
Yeah,
Not
I'm
true,
big on that.
But
I
self-deprecate every day.
I try not to do it too much because I've seen
dude,
some
I love
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
Like when someone just shits and roasts on themselves, I'm like,
yeah,
hell yeah,
I
dude,
know.
I like
Yeah,
that.
That's good. It's
I'm
healthy.
notorious for
it's
it.
healthy.
It is. It's just
I
like
do it all the
it's
time.
just humility, man. It's just fun.
But I think, was it Bruce Lee? I gotta look it up. Bruce Lee had a saying about it. Like, I try not to do it too much because they say, like, if you do it too much to yourself,
I mean, if you're genuinely self-deprecating, that's
like,
bad.
all the time, like, man, I'm
Oh
just
yeah, the Japanese
piece of
proverb: "Be careful what you say to yourself, for the warrior within may hear you."
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. I love when I hear people do that because cockiness is such a fucking turn off.
Yeah, and here's the thing too: not enough people not enough people are having real conversations.
Mm-hmm.
People are looking at headlines and comments, and when people formulate a comment, they don't do it for informative purposes. They usually do it specifically to derail somebody else's argument, or the whole I'm right, you're wrong.
And it's just a whole moral hierarchy game, whether it's about politics or morality or anything. It's just a way of going, hey,
That's disgusting.
I can feel good about myself, and it's just like cool.
Just that talking behind a keyboard. You can't have.
And it's like
productive talk like that. You can't.
It's like it's not that special. It's like, look at me, I'm not racist. Cool. Yeah, most people aren't.
Yeah.
That's not something you shouldn't have to be proud to not be a piece of shit.
Here, type in an address. You can collect your trophy here at 9.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, wow, you don't hate people.
You're the
Good
only
for you.
Yeah, dude, that'd be fucking hilarious. Just next time you see that shit going down, wow, you're the first not racist person I've ever met.
Yeah, that's like being like, dude, I don't do B&Es. I'm a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah, most people don't.
Yeah.
Most
No
people aren't
shit.
racist.
Yeah, like
Most people don't hate people.
fucking landslide majority.
Yeah.
Like,
so it's
how-
like, if
how
you're going
often-
to pride yourself on something, at least that would be
Right.
something unique.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm not racist. Most people, I don't know anyone who's racist. I literally don't know anyone who's
I
racist.
don't either. I know.
Unfortunately,
luckily-
I do.
I know.
Luckily.
People, I know
Unfortunately,
people who say a little
I've
things
met
here and
people,
there, but like,
I've met people, but like no one in my close life. Because if I wouldn't
oh yeah,
be
I've met
friends with
people
them.
for
Yeah.
sure.
No,
Oh, yeah, I definitely
like when I was
know
growing
people.
up, there
Yeah.
was, but thankfully they're not in my life
Yeah.
anymore. But
you
yeah,
know what's
it's
funny is
like,
it's so like,
And they're probably just more racist is kind of a new word. It's a prejudice thing. You're just saying something because your ego is so big.
Yeah.
And you literally
Well,
no
for people like
exposure to
that-
that type of person.
Well, no, for people like that, it is like a racist thing. Like purely just, I've met people where it comes down to purely color of your skin dictates how I'm
yeah.
gonna treat
And you know
It's
what?
like, you can't
Everyone
do
thinks
that.
of them. Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's
And the funny thing is too,
no
there's
one
so little of
accepts
them.
it. No
Yeah.
one accepts. Like,
No.
yeah, obviously racists do, but the general population, if you come into a racist, they're gonna go like, "You're a piece of shit."
Or are you familiar with JP Sears? He's on YouTube. He's really funny.
Yes.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's
Yeah.
got the long
Yeah, he
red
should-
hair.
yes.
Awesome guy.
This
Love
shit's
that guy.
great.
Shout out to JP Sears. He'll never listen to this, but
No, that
love
dude's
you,
so
dude.
fucking funny.
And he was like,
Yeah, it makes fun of all the woke
He was
shit.
like, yeah, he was making fun of all the woke shit. And he was going, and the funny thing is, racist people will probably never say anything on the internet because they're too much of a fucking coward anyways. You know what I mean? Like, you're not
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
going to ever find somebody on the internet who's racist. Sorry about that ding
Yeah.
again.
Well,
I don't know.
I
It's
don't
just
know. It's a
like-
weird thing. Like sometimes you will, but then there's other people that
No,
just like,
dude,
I don't
racist
know.
people
No, you
cower
see,
in the
like,
darkness.
No, I've seen some people hop on there and they may not truly be it, but when they get behind that keyboard, they just feel they can say whatever they want.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it even online when we're online. People will talk like Call of Duty lobbies and stuff, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
may not say that to in your face, but they'll say stuff like
Because
otherwise.
everyone's not a bitch behind a keyboard.
Yeah,
That's why I do. Even on Instagram,
fucked up
dude.
thing.
I fucking tell people I love when I get hate on Instagram, and I'm not someone that's like I love my haters. I just like when people troll because it's always some dumb
that's
fuck
what I
with
say. I
no
say-
profile picture, private, and I'm like, there's so many times I've gotten like people shitting on my stuff,
Yeah.
which isn't a lot. I receive a lot
No,
of
it happens.
support.
I
which
say
I'm
that's
grateful
when
for.
you know you're doing something right.
I
be
just think it's
completely honest
funny
with you.
because without fail, every time I'm like, bro, you don't have any content. You don't
Yeah.
have a picture.
Chill.
Like, who are you to say something? If
Yeah.
you're going to shit on me, I don't care. At least back it up.
Yeah, seriously.
At least show that you're good, you
Right.
know?
Where's your stuff? Let's see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't even get it. I don't like, what the fuck is, I never got that. I'm just like, when you're 13.
Yeah.
And I also do forget that. I'm like, oh yeah, like 13-year-olds have Instagram.
Well, no, but listen too. Remember when we were coming up into the internet?
Oh, yeah, I was a
Dude,
dick.
We were so lucky to live in a day and age when the internet was a joke.
Oh,
I
yeah.
only went on the internet to troll. I'd talk to girls. I'd talk to my friends.
Yeah,
this
dude.
fucking thing keeps dinging, but it's not on the track, so we're good.
Hell yeah.
He says that now.
Yeah.
He says that now.
No, so,
50
no,
more went off the whole time.
Dude, it's so annoying. And
But dude, yeah, no, I feel you.
throw this thing through the wall.
It was just good times.
Good times because
E-Bombs World?
dude, huh?
E-Bombs World? Break.com? Albino Black Sheep? Any of y'all know those websites?
Shit, no. I was like AIM. I would go on like
Yeah,
all the
AIM.
wormholes.
Dude, I got broken up with after 6 days on AIM, dude.
Dude, I had a
Yeah.
week long relationship
Shout
on AIM, sorry, and I never like hung out
Best
with the girl.
relationship of his life.
Yeah,
dude.
best relationship.
Remember the
of my life.
away messages?
Oh yeah.
Yes, those were where it
On
was
your
at.
profile?
You
which
could
I don't
change
even
the
know what that was.
ding music to be like it could be like I remember I think I had Linkin Park intro to one of their songs.
Oh,
with
dude.
ding
Well,
music.
MySpace was just dope.
Oh man.
Like MySpace was
Top friends, just fucked up. Love it.
Until you hop on that one person's page and it was just like the loudest music ever.
Oh,
Of just like
but
Red Hot
that's-
Chili Peppers or something.
See, that's the one thing I hated on Facebook for the longest
good.
time when it was between MySpace and Facebook for a a little bit. Remember that? There was
yeah.
there was
Yeah, a little
a
overlap.
choice. There was a little overlap.
Lamos on Facebook. MySpace.
Dude, Facebook was so boring. I remember I think it was like 7th, 8th, 9th grade.
Yeah.
And I went on. I'm like, dude, what is this? A blog? Like,
Yeah.
why can't I?
It's for, like,
why can't I
college
edit
students
my
and stuff.
page?
Yeah.
Yeah, where's my music player?
Yeah,
What
why
the
can't I
fuck?
put a theme on here? Like,
Yeah,
what
and
the
then
Where are my
hell?
top
3
friends?
years, and everyone's
Yeah.
like, "Fuck MySpace, dude."
Yeah.
What blows my mind is MySpace is a website. I'm like, find me a single human being on earth that uses MySpace.
Nobody anymore.
So I'm like, how is this still a website?
like,
I have no
Who
idea.
is
It is
using
though. You're right.
It
Justin
is.
Timberlake, I think, bought it like a year or two ago and turned it into just a music thing only.
Yeah, it's so
or
different
something.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it
I've
was
like
very pro.
I don't think
music.
in the last 10 years I've even heard of a human being on Earth that's
No,
like,
no.
I still use it.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
like, how do you guys still exist?
No idea.
I'd go to my
They're a
page,
dying
my
breed.
old page
Tom's
sometimes.
probably still there. That
They're probably
fucker,
living.
Tom.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Tom.
Was it Tom from?
It
Wait,
was
was it
Tom.
Tom from
On Adam?
MySpace?
It was Tom. Yeah.
Couldn't you not unadd him? Wasn't he like permanently a
I
friend?
think
No,
so.
you could unadd him.
Oh, you could.
He was your first friend though, so
I was
everybody
hoping
had
he
him
was
as a friend.
like just a parasite.
Yeah. yeah.
Fucking tapeworm on your MySpace
You
page.
try to delete him, and then he becomes your first on your best friends.
Hell yeah. He's like,
It
out of
gets
spite,
worse.
he's like, fuck
Yeah.
you, dude. I see
Every
you.
time you
gets
delete
worse
him,
and
it gets worse. Yeah.
You come back one time.
Every
he's just
time you
your whole
delete him,
background.
he sees now your second.
Yeah.
So you just have like 16
You're like,
top friends of Tom. You're like, I can't.
Why?
Dude.
Why? I thought we were best friends.
They're all
bro.
slightly different pictures of Tom.
Yeah, he's facing the other way in one. It's all shifted.
Alter ego.
Dude,
Mott.
I miss the MySpace drama when it's like,
Well,
why
what
am I
about-
not in your top friends? And
Yeah.
I'm like, because you're not my friend. Like,
Yeah.
Are we not dating anymore? Because
Yeah.
I'm not your top friends.
Could you put you were in a relationship in MySpace?
I
think you
don't
could.
remember that. No. Your
love that on
girlfriend was number
Facebook.
one. That's
You might be
Yeah.
able to. I think you might have been able to. I
don't know.
forget. It's been
I don't
a
know
long
if you
time.
could. I don't think
I
that
even
was a
know
thing.
I was dating back
I
then.
love
was
that
really
on
young.
Facebook though.
Yeah.
I love when I see adults.
I was short and
my
fat back
age
then.
that,
So
like,
was, yeah.
hell yeah.
I
What's
was
that?
just-
Just like people my age that will date someone for like a week and then put it on their Facebook. And
Oh,
I'm like,
that's the best.
Well, it's not official until it's on Facebook.
Well, I'm like, haven't you learned that like if this goes south in 2 weeks, you're gonna look like a dummy?
but it's not though.
Yeah.
It's
Just
not
like,
going to go
hold up.
south. It's not.
No,
This
that's
is
something
forever.
Oh, that's always who it goes south.
Here's the
with.
thing, dude. I've, and that's caused a little bit of trouble in my previous relationships. Is I never liked the aspect at all, and I had relationships that lasted more than a year, and it's like, why is it's just too much information for people who don't know me? Because
dude.
10%, 10% of the people who are friends with me on Facebook know me.
Mhm.
Why do I want 95% of people
Yeah.
who I don't know?
Social media fucks so much.
It's weird.
shit up.
It's a weird kind of like, hey, by the way, I work here and this is who I'm dating. Like,
Yeah, I
what?
just don't.
It's all
Like,
part
what?
of it. That's how they get you to come back, though, is because
Yeah.
it triggers something in your head. It's just
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
with certain people. It does.
maybe it's like a safety thing. I don't know. That they're
Well, it
like,
definitely
maybe
is like a social,
he
like-
won't be.
Well, it's a
Yeah,
social
yeah.
status
Some
thing.
shit.
This
Yeah,
is what it's like to be
says
like.
this,
I don't know. Back in the day,
Listen,
like I don't know.
I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying it's not my taste. You
Yeah,
know what I
no.
mean? It's just
It is funny though. I do like get a kick out of when I see it, and
Yeah.
then 2 weeks later it's not there, and
Yeah.
you're like,
nice.
okay,
It's all secret.
good one,
Yeah.
good little 2 weeker in there.
You know what I really miss was the is YouTube. YouTube was like,
Mike, they still have YouTube.
well, I'm saying it used to be a sandbox.
No, I
The
know.
OG
The
like
OG
viral
YouTube.
videos.
Yeah, yeah. Like equals 3 and shit.
Grape Lady.
Yeah.
I drummed along to that one, dude.
Really?
Yeah. In the little dream kid, the one that's like, you ever have a dream and then he just stutters for like 20 seconds,
Oh,
basically.
you
Yeah, I drummed over that and played
win,
keys to
you
it.
Win, you win, you win.
Yeah.
that
Chocolate
kid.
Rain.
Yeah.
Chocolate Rain.
Yeah, do you remember the real OG ones? Like the kid who's standing on a log in a river and his friends are shooting him with paintballs?
No.
Charlie bit my finger. I know that.
That
Yeah.
was a really OG one.
Those are the good old days. Anytime I see anything from like 12 years or more on YouTube, I'm like, the good days.
Dude, I was just talking to somebody about that and how crazy it is that just in the year 2000 to 2010, how prehistoric that technology is now.
Oh, yeah.
It's like trash. When I say trash, I don't mean that it sucks. I mean that it's actually garbage. Like it's in the trash. Like,
Yeah,
it doesn't
it's
even have a
bonkers.
quality.
It's obsolete.
Like, yeah, it's obsolete. Like you don't even use that technology anymore.
Speak
It's
for
not even.
yourself.
He's still got
Yeah.
dial up.
you just hear the Game Boy.
He's like, yo, can you turn the light on?
I got my pager.
Dude.
I've got a
Oh,
backlight.
yeah.
Yeah.
Before the
'Cause-
Game Boy had lights.
Yeah, it didn't have a
Yeah.
light. You had to buy the thing to attach, and it would
No,
suck the
I can
battery.
smell the back of my mom's minivan right now.
yeah,
dude.
yeah, dude.
On the
Seriously.
way to the fucking
No, I had the thing
DAR.
you put on the top. It'd be a
Pokemon
magnifying
Red.
glass kind of too. You put on top of the screen. It had a light too. It was perfect.
Yeah.
It'd make the screen bigger. Oh, it was perfect.
Yeah,
it was the
dude.
setup. Yeah.
I missed the. Yeah, I remember the little light thing.
yeah, that
Yeah.
freaking dumb light, and it would drain
They're
your
just so
battery.
dumb that
way
they're like,
fast.
let's put on another light rather than make the fucking screen.
Right.
They
a
finally did it with
backlit
like
screen.
the SP. I think the Game Boy
Yeah.
Advance SP was the first one
Yeah.
that flipped.
Yeah.
I got
Oh,
that.
we're talking. Yeah, I forgot
Oh,
the
yeah.
OG ones.
Oh, yeah.
I still have my Game Boy Advance somewhere with like Donkey Kong in it or something.
Dude, honestly, yeah.
That shit's great,
Pokemon
dude.
Red.
I never got mad into the Pokemon. I was more into like. There's a few games. I mean, Mario is just the goat.
I
Donkey
can't
Kong's
imagine
great.
the footprint my child self left of batteries. They didn't have rechargeable Duracells.
No.
So you just buy 2 more. Or you had to buy a pack and just recharge.
Keep going.
Yeah, it'd give you a day's worth of gameplay.
Yeah, like what? Like what 100-year-old sea turtle out there has your batteries just in its stomach?
Mike, we talk about that trash island
the trash island off the
Pacific
coast.
Ocean.
You ever hear about that?
Yeah, the one that's the size of Texas.
Yeah, like off the coast of California or some shit. Yeah,
that's sick.
Like,
Hey, at least you have an island to live on when shit goes ham.
Exactly. That's where I'm gonna move
my
to.
Fucking Xbox 360.
It's like Bill Burr's
Yeah.
bit on rollerblades.
What's that?
He was just talking about how like
I love Bill Burr.
rollerblades used to just be this thing, and then that one gay joke came out, and everyone just threw them away.
Yeah.
He's like, your fucking rollerblades are somewhere out there with that flannel shirt you bought in 1980.
Fucking floating on the island. Dude,
that's crazy shit, though.
He had me dying when he was talking about, you know how like they're moving to self-checkouts? He's like, if I gotta have to pick this food off the shelves and then check it out myself, I'm just gonna walk out the door. He said he'd put it so well. You're just gonna walk out the door without a freaking
he's so funny.
Without paying.
Yeah, self-checkouts are honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, when I was in Switzerland in that one town, there was it was like a store called like the Honesty Store, and there was no one that worked in there. It was just items, and then you just have to drop money off in it, and you could take it. And I was like, that's the dopest shit ever.
Really
so I got a shirt from there, because I feel like everyone that's gonna go, if you're at that location, you're probably a good enough person. Like, I don't see any scummy people going to Switzerland and like hiking up and being, I'm gonna fucking take this thing.
I'm taking this whole
I was
thing.
like, that's so dope.
What do you mean? Like they just trusted you to pay?
Yeah.
No kidding.
So there was like a restaurant, and then I think they own the store, and there's just no one worked in the
That's
store.
how
Just a little room with a ton of shit, and then it's like, here's the price, here's where you drop the money.
Yeah.
And
That's how I feel about those farm stands in Munson. I'll be driving to like Hike Peak or something.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, eggs, $1 a carton. And there's nobody there, you know.
So Mike just jacks all of them.
I just take them all. I take the stand.
Yeah,
He hooks it up to the back of his car. And
I'm an opportunist, bro.
Yeah, dude. I love that shit.
And then he sells them a little down the road for $5 a carton.
I don't take them all. I throw 6 at the house.
And it peels out.
I thought that was so cool, though. And I remember I had my water bottle. I put it down, and then some girl like thought that was a thing there.
Hey,
I was like, nah,
come back. That's fine.
Hey, listen, hey, my water.
Dude.
Or $10.
So dope, though. I'm like, that's like, what a trusting place. Again, easy place to be trusting. What scummy persons?
Well, it's
there?
nice. I always say a big difference that another thing you don't realize when you're in a different country is what it's like to live in a place with a much smaller population.
Yeah. So
There's a lot of pros to being in a place with less people. Because again, more people, everything becomes accentuated. Poverty is accentuated. Affluence is accentuated, and everything else in between. When you have the difference between, a country like America or United States, more specifically, being 340 million people, and you got a place like Switzerland. What is it, like 4 million?
I think it's 6 or 8.
Yeah, it's like
about the size of Massachusetts.
Yeah, it's small, and you don't really understand what's to be appreciated when you go to 8.5. Yeah, there you go, spot on.
Well, I learned traveling, especially solo traveling, that just like America is mad paranoid.
There's a lot of great places. Like I said, I went to Arizona. I drove straight up to Sedona. I mean, that was the most.
But everyone here is paranoid. Like anytime I talk about solo traveling ever to anyone here, they're like, "Oh, I'd love to, but I couldn't. Like, I couldn't do that."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
dude, I know what you mean.
It's because everyone's seen the movie Hostile. I feel like.
Well,
it's
I'm
so
gonna tell
fucking
you.
stupid. Well, it's not. I don't want to. No, I retract that. It's not stupid, but it's a shame because, dude, more than half the solo travelers I met in Europe were all female.
Yeah.
And they were all just European.
Yeah.
And they were like, dude, this is like, I've been here for 3 months. It's fine.
What I get a lot, and especially when I was planning to go to Japan just before this crisis.
Were you going to go alone?
I was with me and a buddy of mine, and I have a friend who lives there, so I was going to go stay with him.
Dope.
And, you get the, watch out for this, watch out for that. And the thing I kept saying, I'm like, no matter where you go, there's disease. I mean, imagine being somebody who wants to come to Massachusetts. Hey, you ever hear of Lyme's disease?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're rattling off all the different things you can get depending on where you go, just stay home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're really that scared, just lock the door and order your food.
And in terms of safety,
I will. Thank you, Mike.
But my point is there's no getting away from danger.
And in terms
There's
of
always a
safety,
certain level.
like
There is if I
in
go
the
in my
city, like
Under my blankie,
I feel literally way safer wandering Europe than I would wandering America. 100%.
That's how I feel too. Well, that's an argument that's often made. It's like, okay, well, you're going to be comparing crime rates and this and that. It's like, well, have you ever been to like New York City?
Yeah.
So what's wrong with going here? I mean, it's like 10 times less here.
Give me even Paris any night over Lost in Chicago or Detroit. Fucking, because at least over there,
yeah,
you can run.
Right.
No one has guns over there.
Yeah.
So worst, you get stabbed, which is horrible, but at least you can
Worst
run.
case.
Yeah.
At least you can't outrun a gun.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, I've had
Serpentine.
I've had so many nights over there in different countries, drunk, dead phone, don't know where I am.
Yeah.
And I am fine.
Yeah.
I've run into nothing. I got pickpocketed one time in Barcelona.
And he's only been shot in the leg, guys.
6 times.
That was mad lucky because my homie saw the guy who did it.
Yeah.
So we just got it back from him.
that is
What
lucky.
a fucking shitty... Like,
Yeah, you gotta be a real
who
piece of crap.
pickpockets and then just stands there?
Yeah,
like, you get the hell out,
Just
bro.
admiring his work.
He's poor form. It's like
Thank
that.
God, though.
You ever watch the Avatar: The Last Airbender?
There's
There's this one scene where the guy's trying to mug Uncle Iroh, and he's like all staggered stance. He's like, you can't with that stance. You're not gonna mug me, and he knocks him over.
I got mad lucky though. I would have been fucked. I don't know what would have.
What did he take? Just everything?
Yeah, my wallet that had all my money, and I had a week and a half left.
Wow.
So if my homie hadn't seen that, because I was wearing like short shorts and I was like sitting down, and it just fell out of the pocket, and you just. But then he just stood there like over I was like, dude.
Right.
But that was the only thing that ever happened. Like I was lost. I was in Paris at the Eiffel Tower, and super picturesque. Like everyone's, you've seen the grass,
right?
And everyone's just having a picnic, drinking wine.
How is the Eiffel Tower?
It's dope.
That's
a lot of people.
That's
are
my
like,
favorite thing about Europe: wine.
Yeah,
Their
dude.
wine there is a mood.
Yeah,
it really is. 2018, my cousin got married in Portugal, and they have like a week-long wedding. It was freaking awesome. It was such a good time. And yeah, the just drinking the wine there, getting to look out, because their architecture is so ancient.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's old. I wouldn't say ancient, but it is old.
It's old.
It
Way older than
predates.
anything,
Yeah, it predates the industrial age, and so you have monasteries and all these things, and the cobblestone, the roads, the houses, and it's like it's got its own mood. It really does.
Yeah, man. So I was there and I was wandering around and I was like, everyone's drinking wine. I want to get myself a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
So then I just gave myself a bottle of wine, plopped down, and then this like group of like 21-year-olds maybe, like a couple girls and guys. I think this girl thought I was a French dude.
Oh, really?
So she came over and started talking to me in French. I was like, I don't.
That's the funny part.
that.
I mean, you look.
Well,
like
when you're
you could be
alone
French.
too,
Yeah.
when you're alone over there, a lot of people just thought it was just
Yeah.
someone that lived there. So
Yeah.
then I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I only speak English. And she's like, whatever, come hang. Anyways,
Yeah. She speaks English too?
No hablo
Shitty
español.
English.
You should
Yeah,
be like, no hablo español.
Yeah, yeah.
but she like, dude, drank a whole bottle of wine, had some vodka, smoked some weed. I was
Yeah.
fucked. And then it was like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm like 3 miles from my hostel. And I'm like, I'm not walking back.
Yeah.
And then this dude in the group was like, I got to take a bus. I'll help you take the bus. And you can go back. I was
Yeah.
like, great. We go and get to the bus. This is like one of my favorite stories there. Get to the bus station at like 3:30. He's like, this is what you do. Here's where you go. I was like, awesome. Get on the bus. I'm like, I don't fucking know what to do. So then
Lost, totally forgot.
we get, immediately. I'm just like, I don't know. And then get off the bus. And I'm like, don't know where I am. I did remember where he told me to go. So I waited for another bus, got on. I think I just, no idea, fell asleep.
Yeah.
Woke up where I got on 50 minutes later.
Nice.
And I was like,
Damn it.
it's like 4:30. I'm going to wait for the next bus. Get on the next bus. Wake up 50 minutes later in the same fucking spot. It's like, fuck the bus, dude. And it's like 5:30 a.m.
It's like
And
Groundhog Day.
Paris is notorious for them being assholes and just not speaking English. So I'm just like going around to people like, do you have Google Maps? Like, I just need to see where the fuck I am. I don't know
I kept
where I'm
joking
at.
about when you're in another country and you don't know how to speak the language. Just get really aggressive with your hands. I need
Yeah.
1 cup of coffee.
Yeah, dude. It's
for
like
me.
they didn't get it. No one was helping me. I was like, Google Maps. I just want to know where I am so I can walk in the right direction. It's like 6 fucking a.m. And the one girl who had Google Maps, her douche boyfriend was just like,
douche.
nah.
La douche, boy.
He's just like, you're not talking to him. Took her phone and walked across the street. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
Thanks,
Thanks,
So
brother.
it's like 6 a.m. And I'm like, I need to wait till a cafe opens so I can charge my phone. Cafe finally opened at like 6:30.
Should have said so much for the boys.
Yeah, dude.
What a romantic city.
Cafe finally opened at 6. Charged my phone. I was like
Yeah.
0.8 miles away and walked back to my hostel
there
at
you go.
7 a.m.
Oof.
Just in
That was
time.
A lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah.
That's what Europe's all about.
Oh, also last night in Paris, I had a train at 7 at night, but I thought it was 7 a.m.
Oh my god.
and went to
Ooh,
bed
that's
at
a
like
dastardly
5
mistake.
a.m.
Mm.
And then I
Oh,
got to the
no.
train station 12 hours early, and I was like, where the fuck is my train? I was like,
no. That's the nice thing
And then I
about
just
Europe.
stayed at the train station for 12 hours.
That's though the nice thing about Europe is that the time is harder to mistake because it goes from
I know.
0
and I
to
somehow
24.
fucked it up.
Right, so you're probably
Well, I
still-
read the time
Yeah,
right. It
okay.
said it was like 19 whatever. I was like, that's 7.
Oh, really?
But for some reason in my head, I was like, 7 a.m. I didn't even go explore the city that day. I just
no.
stayed at the train station because I was so
Oh,
fucking
no.
tired.
Oh, I got you there. Oh my god, that
Dude,
sucks.
There's so many. Yeah, like with the last night I was there last summer in 2019, I missed my flight.
Yeah.
And it was just like a 9 hours straight of just stress to miss my flight.
Oh,
Yeah, that
that's
sucks.
actually a very stressful thing.
Oh, yeah.
Mike
Getting
loves
to
that. He
the
lives for
airport.
that when he goes on vacation.
Nope. Don't even mess around. I'll be there 3 hours early.
Well, my Uber like app. So I was in Prague, and these girls were fucking hammered.
Mhm.
So like not well, and I was like, let me order you an Uber. Then the Uber came, and they're way too drunk. So the guy was like, fuck this. So I had to cancel. But the payment, it just fucked it up. So the payment didn't work. So I couldn't order any more Ubers.
Oh no.
And I forgot that. So I was in Brussels, in Belgium, gonna go to London, then fly home.
Yeah.
And I like got up to go use the Uber, and it's like your payment can't work. And I was like, fuck, I don't have cash, so I need to go to an ATM. Walk a mile to an ATM. ATM's broken. I was like, I need to figure this
Great
fucking
start.
Uber shit out. So I had to hook up my PayPal to it. Finally got the Uber. There's so much traffic. Got to the airport barely in time. Missed my flight. So I was like, now I need to go back into Brussels, get a bullet train to London, spend $250 on that, and then get to London and have to get a cab like right away straight
Dude,
to
you
the
know
airport.
what? On a really
And then
positive
miss the
note.
flight.
Oh, dude, no.
That's awful.
I got
That's
there
fucking
30
brutal.
minutes, and I was like, "Yo, can I get on this flight?" And they're
Oh,
like, "Dude, no,
On a positive note, it is
$800 mistake."
It's amazing how
was fun, though.
useful the internet is in time. In the modern age, like when you can just rather travel so easily with it. I remember when I go, it's like as long as I can get Wi-Fi, I can figure everything else out.
Oh yeah, I don't know what the fuck I would have done if I didn't have a phone.
What did you do from there?
Dude, I had this like movie-esque moment where I was, it was like from, dude,
That's
it was
like one of those moments where you just give up. You just get naked.
well, it
and
was from like
lay on the
8:30.
ground until the ants
This
eat
is
you.
it.
It was like 8:30 a.m. until 6 when I missed my flight. So it was literally that amount of time of just like, fuck, I need to get to my flight, stress.
Yeah.
And then I was so pissed because it just like was a lot of money. It was
Yeah.
a pricey mistake. So I was like smoking a cig at the airport outside, just like, yo, fuck this. And then like, it sounds so corny, but it was true. Like I saw this little beam of like light from the sun, and I was like, dude, I just spent 7.5 weeks solo traveling Europe, having the best time of my life. Why the fuck am I going to be upset
Yeah.
that I missed my flight? And I was literally from that moment like cloud 9.
Nice.
Like took a bus back into London, stayed at the hostel I started my first night at there, so it was like full circle, and I was just like, dude, this is great.
So how much longer did you stay for?
Just another night.
Nice. Okay.
So I had to
the
be
most
back
out
at
of it.
work.
That's
But I was
awesome.
so stoked then.
Did
I
you
was like
lose your
talking to a
money?
homeless dude. I was like,
Yeah.
like helping him out. It's just like in a cloud 9 because I was
Dude,
like,
that's
fuck it. I
awesome.
get an extra night. I just spent 7.5 weeks having the best time of my life. Why am I gonna like be upset?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who
just
the
goes
fuck
back
cares?
to control
Whatever.
what you
Money,
control.
I can make money back.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
control what
And
you
that was
control.
my philosophy traveling. I was like, in 2018, I had this like little motto. I was like, you can always regain money, you can't regain time.
Dude,
So fuck it.
there is
And
no better
because of
motto.
that-
There's no better motto than
Because of that, I'm broke right now.
that. But you got a lot
I
of
had the
time.
best,
You're not
literally
really
the best days of my life.
Yeah.
Wouldn't take it back for a moment.
Yeah.
And I can remake money.
Dude, seriously. Not many people take that into consideration. And I've said
No.
it before. It's like the older I get, the younger I realize I am. Your true wealth lies within how much time you have
Mm-hmm.
and what you do with that time. Not just how much time you have, but what you do with it. If you're doing something you love, doing something that has some type
Mm-hmm.
of progression to it, has some type of structure to it, all these things are positives.
Yeah, and you can guarantee you can make money in some way. You can't guarantee you'll. I could die in 5 minutes.
That's true.
You
This could
know,
be the
then-
last day on earth for you.
Yeah,
dude.
and people laugh, and it's like you literally could. I could just
Yeah.
have an aneurysm or
Yeah.
something. It's like,
And as funny as it might come off as a pessimistic way of thinking. It's actually a very enlightening way to think, because imagine, for instance, that you did only have that much time. What would you do?
Yeah.
Because I can assure you it wouldn't be brush your teeth and go to bed. You know? Like
Then you don't know me, Michael Mulholland.
I can't wait to die.
Optimistic nihilism. That's how
Yeah.
I coined my thought process in the
That's
world.
a good way to put it. I like that. Because honestly, that's the truth right there.
Yeah, I'm not religious. I'm like pretty atheist.
Yeah.
I'm pretty like materialist in terms of just like, I just think
well, yeah, the way
we're
I
here
put
and then we die and then that's it.
Yeah.
But because of that, I view that optimistically. Like I don't deteriorate into like self-loathing and like fear. I'm just like, I don't believe life innately has any purpose. I literally just think you wake up in existence, in whatever you are is what you are, and then you die. But because of that, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna make my life dope because it's the only shot I have. So fuck it. What if life is meaningless? I'm just gonna create my meaning, because what's the point? And that's why I'm pursuing music.
Often, and the way I like to reference that too, because this is another thing that has way too much attention. It's in what people believe, because fundamentally, what people believe is only what helps them deal with reality. So why the hell does it matter what you believe versus what I believe? It's just a coping mechanism. That's exactly. Actually, I never even put it that way.
And a lot of it's just a fear of death and a fear of
I know we were just talking about that with Josh last podcast.
Yeah.
Like, talk about such a put down death has got. You know, everybody makes it out to be a bad thing, and none of us know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just think it's just like, I don't believe anything happens after.
Yeah.
I fucking hope I'm right. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm going to be miffed, dude. If I die and I just wake up somewhere, I'm going to be like, oh shit.
Well, what if it's
Damn,
awesome?
son.
I mean, what if it's completely different?
I know if religion's real, I'm not going in the right place.
Well, that's the thing. Religion.
No way.
Well, religion is another construct,
Yeah,
and
no, I know.
depending on what religion you're referencing, it can be a totally different thing.
Here's my philosophy, if I can say it.
Yeah.
Is like, transience, shout out,
Yeah.
is like the only reason there's value.
Right.
And my concept is, if I live forever, like the idea of an afterlife and living forever is the worst thing I could imagine.
That's not the belief for you then. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Yeah.
so many, like, for instance, Alan Watts says it all the time. Like, we are to this universe like waves are to the ocean. You know what I mean? Brief in our independence, but then we return to something else. What reality is sort of subjective to our perception
Yeah.
of everything. But, like, it's a tough thing.
Well, it's
It
this
hurts your
idea.
brain, because it's like, imagine
Wow, things hurt
returning
my
to...
brain.
Yeah. Well,
Return
it's this
to the
idea
source
that
of
like
it.
impermanence, people run from it. This idea that
Well, your
like,
body certainly just goes.
yeah. Well, I don't like that. I think it's a shame that people view death, that like they view that like this life is probably the only thing we have,
Yeah.
as a bad thing, because it's like, again, transience is the only thing that adds value. And I use this analogy of like, all right, imagine you're going to like a concert, see your favorite band, 2 hours, killing time. Then imagine if you're like, yo, this concert's going to be 38 hours straight.
Yeah.
You would literally go, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not going. Like,
not
I'm not
that
going to
fun
stay
anymore.
because then it's just horrible.
Yeah, yeah.
So everything, like every moment is finite, and every experience with someone you know is transient to some degree. And that's what makes it add value. Like if you just elongate and extend, like if everything comes elastic, there's no end point,
In
it
other
just
words,
retracts all value.
Something's value can often be determined by how long it lasts.
Yeah, and the fact that there is any end point, because
Well, that's
vacation
why
no longer becomes fun if there's no end point.
Right. If you're born in Switzerland, you're never going to appreciate the
Exactly.
mountains. Dude, and that's and to come real full circle with what you're saying, because I completely agree with that too. It's that it's so important to recognize that life is temporary.
Exactly.
Because if you don't, one, you'll take it too seriously,
and take it for granted.
and two, you could take it for granted. So it's a
Make the
double.
most out of
You
it.
get slammed if you don't understand that it's temporary. Because like a roller coaster, right? Imagine if a roller coaster was an hour. The same way.
Exactly.
That's too long.
And that's why I think death is so hard for people, because we operate life going through the
Right.
navigating life with the notion that like we have time on our side, and we just don't. And death is a reminder that like you don't.
It's the one thing, like I'm just thinking about this, but it's like the one thing we can't even fool our brains into thinking we can control. Like at least people think they can control all these things, even if they can't.
Death is the one thing you gotta surrender to.
Yeah, you can't control, even if you can't even trick your mind to think you control it, because you can't, because it's just the one thing.
Everything's got a time limit.
Yeah.
But I
You don't know
think
when,
death
but-
reminds people of the wasted time they've spent with people.
Well, in other words,
humble
it's
you
a
in a
perspective
sense.
setter. It's a perspective setter because all of a sudden, are you gonna be really pissed off about something small like you missed your airplane and destroy your entire experience?
Do you know Sam Harris?
Sounds very familiar. I got him. I definitely do. Yeah,
he's been on Rogan before.
Yeah.
I should send you some shit.
What's his thing?
I mean,
What's
he's
he
like
do?
big in the atheist community, but big into meditation and politics. I mean, he's just like the most brilliant dude. But he made a good.
He's like a philosopher of sorts.
Yeah, he made a really good point of just like death makes a mockery of every issue in life.
Yeah,
and the idea that like, all right, like you said, and I've thought about this, like, you know, imagine if you're just the most pissed you've ever been at like a family member. And then imagine that moment you find out tomorrow they're going to die. And imagine how quickly
that would change.
You couldn't be pissed at them if you tried.
No.
And every time you fucking hang out with anyone could easily be the last time you ever hang out with them. And if you knew it was the last time,
what would you do?
You would be fine.
How would you be? Yeah.
It would be so healthy. And it's like this idea that when people die, I think they're left with the sense of regret of like, fuck, we had that argument.
Yeah.
Like I didn't see them enough.
Well, it's like the old saying, live every day like it's your last. And you don't need to go extreme with it, like YOLO style, but
it's definitely
live to get the most out of what you can of every day.
It's funny too, because that's when people are appreciated the most.
Yeah.
Like I've been to some, funerals of friends and as sad as the whole thing is, I really am turned off by this whole, people's act changes so much. They like start going off about, oh, he was or she was the greatest person ever. Like, get someone up there to say something real about this person. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You ever been to a funeral and they'll say like these very embellished things like the most generous person in the entire world? Like, what?
Yeah, it's like, just be authentic.
That's not real. Like,
say
something.
But it's almost like people feel like it's bad mojo. Maybe like I kind of feel like maybe it's like to be bad mojo to talk about someone they're not there to defend themselves. Like,
don't go up there and talk shit. Yeah, it was
this person sucked. I'm happy to be here.
It was a real piece of shit. I'll kick the box.
The way
I like
to start those speeches is he had a dick a mile long, bro.
Yeah.
Never
like,
seen a
just be like,
schlong so long.
Tell a story about.
I don't know how he fit in the casket.
I don't even.
Just insane.
It's amazing.
No, but I know what you mean. That's how I feel about my grandparents right now. You know what I mean? They're forgiven on almost everything and every term, and I try to always approach them. I always do approach them like that, and I do try to have more patience with them too, because it's like, when you're day-to-day things, you're teaching them how to use a phone or something. It sometimes drives you nuts. But the point is,
it's all irrelevant.
You never know. Like you never. In other words, because of how little we know of what happens to us after we die, I don't know that my last thoughts on this planet, even before I die maybe, are that of me being short with somebody I loved for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, that's scary.
And that's what haunts people, like people who leave someone on a bad note, get into an argument, and that person gets in a car accident and dies or kills themselves or something, and you're just left with like, fuck.
Mad regret.
Can't ever retract
Fix that. Yeah.
I mean, you can't ever retract anything, but at least if a person's alive, you can work it out with them.
You have the guilt of a murderer.
Yeah, and it's like...
It's got dark.
I don't know, but that was my philosophy. That was my philosophy with traveling. That's been my philosophy with music since I was a senior and decided I wanted to do it, Because I was kind of like, look, I don't want to work a dumb, shitty job the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. I already think life is meaningless, so I want to do something dope. So it's like... The only way life means anything to me and provides me with any fulfillment is if I can do something I want to do that's dope. And music's the only thing for me that I'm like, that's what I want to do.
Something you're proud of.
A similar belief of mine. I put it very. It seems like it's a very rigid standpoint. Like you say, life is meaningless. I always say the purpose of life is just to pass on information. Because if you think that's what everything does on a biological level, whether it be through conversation, whether it be through genetics, whether it be through I guess knowledge and genetics are like everything. That's how everything is doing. That's what everything's doing. That's alive at all moments. In fact, our reproductive system is like the most important thing our body does. It'll be the last thing to go when we die.
It's a crazy thing that changed my entire perspective was of like one Joe Rogan podcast, and the most random one. It was like this chick who was like had a PhD in like medical history or some shit. And it literally like made me like change my perspective because she was just talking about how gruesome and like brutal existing even in like 1850.
Oh God, yeah.
Like she was saying like kidney stones if you had him as a dude, he would put something down there and fucking hammer it while you're awake. And I was like,
there's no anesthesia.
Dude, that's like my grandparents' parents' age. And it literally changed my whole perspective on life, where I was like, yo, the Buddhist philosophy, like life is suffering. I was like, I fully agree.
Yeah.
Because that was life in 1850. Imagine life in 112.
Well, a lot of the medical research was fueled and backed because at the time there was the clergy, and they pretty much were the scientific, like, gods at the time. Yeah, like they determined everything. Like Galileo wasn't allowed to get a word in. You know what I mean? Like they put him in jail because he was talking about the stars and shit. Yeah. You know? So if you had depression or anxiety, they'd bore a hole in your head to get the demons out, you know? Like.
But it made me realize that, like, okay, life inherently is suffering. Like, life is horrible. But like, this is augmented. That's how I view this. I'm like, this is not real. This is augmented. Obviously, this is real life. But if you look at every other living being,
like creatures
on the planet, in every living being, basically pre-1900, life was just this shitty, just like dull suffering. And then you die. And I'm like, this is back to like the complaining about all the shit. It's like, dude, this is so augmented. This isn't. This is so easy. Like, when's the last time you woke up and struggled to stay alive before you went to bed? Never, and I never will. Probably. Not gonna wood.
Another big one is like, think about how many people you know have gone to bed starving. I'm not talking very hungry either.
No, I mean true starvation. Don't know one.
No, don't know anybody. I've never known anybody. Who's
probably never will.
I might not either. You have no idea what level of luxury that you're really being you know, showered in.
So I view it as like, I just woke up into existence in one of the best places I could at the best time in history.
Yeah.
As a healthy person that is functioning well. And it's like, why would I ever like, this is why I've never had the fear of like failure. Because I was like, the consequence of me going for something and failing is the same place I would have been if I never tried. If you don't try, you failed.
Well, there's more.
That is the failure.
I mean, I find there's more reward out of failure than succeeding sometimes.
Exactly.
You learn lessons that you wouldn't otherwise.
And again, back with the death thing, it's the same idea of like, if I get to be 80, you're gonna fucking regret just fucking off and not going for what you went for. And that's why I don't have any plan B. Like, if music doesn't work out, I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't care, because I'm like, I'm just gonna go for this because that's all that speaks to me. That's all I want to do with my own life. And life just has no meaning to me if I don't go for that. I'm not just gonna work at Denny's until I die.
Exactly.
Like, I don't give a shit.
Meaning is found.
Yeah,
it's a huge part of it. I always get really sad because I work and speak to a lot of people on a daily basis with my job, and I meet a lot of people who had the same job for 40 years. I go, holy shit, you're 80 something now. Yeah, that's your story. Yeah, never left the country.
That is my biggest fear of all time, and that's why that was a big thing for me to travel, because I was like, I'm gonna make sure I don't live a life that I reflect on and go, I just blew this. That the last. Like, the fear for me is, like, in the last 2 years.
But it is all relative. As long as maybe if they enjoyed it and they really,
depends
really
what they're doing for work.
Exactly.
Like,
me and you, that's not going to work for a guy like me or you. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of people. But the point is, it's finding what you love doing and being able to be proud of what you did.
And for me, the last 2 years since I started traveling, everything's so compartmentalized. Like, I view that 2018 trip, 2019 trip in, like, so distinct. I can remember who I met that night, in what city, and like, I want my whole life to be like a reflection of like, here's this tour, here's this thing, here's this thing. My fear is like, I'm 60 and the last 3 decades just blurred, and I can't even distinguish anything, because then it's like, to me, that's just being dead while alive. Like, you're not, there's nothing to reflect on.
You ever hear that saying, most people die when they're 30, but they're buried when they're 80? Yeah. You know what I mean?
I haven't heard that, but that's the same notion. Yeah.
You know, like, in other words, people sacrifice who they've always wanted to be around 30. And then it's just sort of waiting.
And that's why, like, I hate saying it. I don't even know if I've ever said this statement, but like, I'm never gonna give up. I hate that. Sounds so like
corny.
But it's the idea, because it's like,
it's true. Don't give up. That's
giving
a good statement.
up is just, that's what I don't get. That's why it bums me out when people are afraid to go for the shit they want, because it's like, dude, if you don't go for it, you're where you're afraid of being. You're there already.
Yeah, dude, I like that.
That's
I think
like
I've
being,
heard that before, but it's really refreshing to hear that again
that's like,
personally.
Yeah, that's like sleeping in a pile of shit in your bed. And you're like, well, I don't want to get out of bed because there might be a pile of shit over there. It's like you're already in a pile of shit.
Yeah.
So just like,
maybe
if I go to be a drummer
and
I try for 20 years and fail, hey, fuck it. At least I tried.
Yeah.
Miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly.
Boom.
And it's just
Michael
the
Scott.
most cliche quote, but cliches are cliches for a reason. And they're meaningful.
Yeah.
It's from Wayne Gretzky, but it's from The Office.
Yeah.
He puts it out. He's like, Wayne
thought it was
Gretzky,
Michael
Scott.
Dude, that's in so many
he might have
girls.
said it
That's
too.
in so many girls' Tinder bios. Is that quote with the Michael Scott thing?
That's how you know they're real.
I had this weird thought one time, specifically about her, and I don't know why I had this thought.
Who was this?
About Anne Frank.
Oh, okay.
One time where I was like, I thought of her, and I was just like, obviously that whole story is fucking just bonkers, just the Holocaust in general. And I was like, and this relates to the idea of going for what I want. And I was like, dude, imagine like what she would have done with my life. You know, like imagine all the people. Let's just take the Holocaust,
dude. What about
just that?
Yeah, I mean,
and just think of the amount of children that died when they were 7 because they were Jewish, and that's why they fucking died.
Yeah.
And it's like what they would have done with my opportunity in life.
Mm-hmm.
And why do I have this? I don't deserve this anymore. Like I'm just lucky. So like, I feel like if I don't go for what I want to go for, I feel like I'm honestly doing a disservice to all the people out there who are born in a fucking horrible spot or dying from leukemia when they're 8.
Look at the draw.
It's almost like do it for them, dude. Because there's a million people out there that would wish they were in your spot.
It's fucking rude.
Yeah.
Fucking rude. That's a great point, man.
Because think of the amount of people alive right now. Never mind the amount of fucking people before that.
What you're really talking about is gratitude, is understanding that you know what your ability is, who you are, what you have, what you can do.
Yeah. Think of how many people right now, never mind all the people who died before us, that would like kill to be in your spot and get to do what you want to do. And you're just going to fuck off because you're afraid.
Yeah.
I get it, but it's also, it's almost like a disservice to all the people out there suffering and who have died. It's just like, just fucking go for it, dude.
Seriously.
Don't be a bitch. Money can always be made. Time can never be
regained. Dude.
Yeah, man.
Good word to live by.
I like that. We're over 2 hours here.
Shit, dude. Goes by
Fucking
fast.
rock that show, man.
Hell yeah, dude.
I like that though. I really do. I actually couldn't resonate more with anything in my entire life, because that's kind of how I've been living my life for the past couple years, and trying to maintain that sort of laser focus towards that, because the fact of the matter is that, yeah, I don't want to look back with any kind of regret. Oh, I wish I did it. Oh, I wish I tried. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That fear holds people back, and there's a lot of points along within the process that might hold you back.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I mean, shit, imagine what Helen Keller would have done if she could have seen and heard. She wrote a freaking book.
Dude, I like literally don't even process that. Anytime I see a
don't
Helen
either.
Keller quote, I'm almost like, no,
What?
that's not real.
How?
How?
I know.
But yeah, I mean, it's
Crazy.
just like, dude, like I said, there's someone out there right now literally gonna die tomorrow because they haven't had food in a week. And we're over here like, yeah, but people might not like me.
Yeah, a popular one is you'll get a lot of people like hating rich people. But the funny part about that is that you living in this country are the top 1% of the wealthiest people in the world.
When people talk about privilege in America, they only speak American. They never speak globally.
No.
If you live here, you're privileged.
And that's the same thing as saying, I want him to have less because he has more than me. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
Oh, I could rant forever on the rich shit.
Huh?
I could rant forever on that topic.
Yeah. Here, we'll wrap this up because it is late.
Oh, I
Here.
just noticed the Bob Ross.
Yeah, dude. Let's end this on a little Bob Ross quote, because this guy's the man.
Let's get crazy. What the heck? Take your 2-inch brush. This is your bravery test.
Such good ASMR, dude.
Dude,
that's so hot.
I love,
ASMR goat.
dude, I freaking love Bob Ross. Those are all Bob Ross paintings.
I was
right
hoping it just was going to end with "Let's get crazy" because I was like, that's
I
the
know.
least Bob Ross shit of all time.
But he always says that shit. Let's get crazy. What the heck? I'll smack the devil out of it. He just
I love that.
smacks
dude.
his brush. But guys, thank you so much for listening. Check out all the stuff below for Joel here. Big things to come, right? Just come
Hopefully,
full
yeah.
circle. You said you had a tour coming out soon.
Tour
And
at
an
the
album.
end of August if COVID
End of
doesn't
next year,
exist.
August. Yeah, and then
So if you live in Europe, roll through. And I
Boom.
have solo record coming out hopefully in a few months. Cap Bamboo record, Writing the Sky,
Yeah.
Speak Fiction.
And I got to say too, it was a real pleasure meeting you, Joel.
Yeah,
absolutely.
we got to do this again
For sure.
and I totally mean it. Like this was
Hell yeah.
awesome. The chemistry, the
always-
conversation.
Yeah, it was cool.
We touched on some dope stuff,
Yeah,
and
man.
I'm like thinking to myself, how many clips? I'm gonna have to make a couple clips. I don't know
Yeah.
if you, follow me on Facebook because I also distribute like
Hell yeah.
you know how Joe Rogan has like clips. I do like similar stuff like that just
yeah.
to kind of get emphasis on some of the really awesome points
Yeah,
we've made,
fuck
and
yeah.
all that kind of stuff. But guys, check us out. Give us a thumbs up, give us a like, give us a comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate you guys listening. I love you all, and have an awesome week.
Peace out.
Peace.